Welcome everybody to the Uncivilized Art Podcast, a geek and internet culture podcast with a focus on creativity and cultural impact. And today we're going to be talking about cloud gaming because I think there's a lot to be said about cloud gaming. I think there's all the pros and cons and just personal experiences about cloud gaming. I got my man Sweet Bundy back with me again. Big up, man. That's Sweet Bundy. How you doing, sir?
Doing good, man. Thank you for having me on again.
Awesome, awesome. Hopefully, we'll be hearing more of you in the coming weeks and months because we got a lot to talk about.
Without a doubt.
We got a lot. But yeah, before we get into the main bit of today, yeah, what you been up to lately, man? What you been playing? What you been watching? What you been doing?
Man, I've been
Hold this,
hooked
actually.
again on Red Dead Redemption 2. I I've been playing the hell out of that game. I've been doing the challenges, and anybody that plays it, you know some of the challenges are ridiculous, especially the gambling challenges, okay? They want you to win 3 games in a row without losing of dominoes, okay? And I can't tell you how much I hate dominoes now. The game taught me how to play dominoes. I never knew how to play dominoes, and now I hate that game. I never want to play dominoes. Hell, I don't even want to see dominoes. Matter of fact, I don't even want to see the pizza dominoes. Okay.
Okay, come on. Let's go too far.
No, I'm serious. I can't tell you how much that challenge made me hate dominoes. Even saying dominoes is infuriating.
All right, don't watch
But
Poisonerhead then. Poisonerhead. There's a scene that might piss you off in that movie, so leave that movie for a while.
But anybody that has even attempted to play that game, I highly encourage you to, give it another shot. Try it again on one of those days where you have extra time and you just want to sit down and relax. It is so captivating. You could really get into it. You get into the world and you just let go. You could just do random things. It doesn't always have to be shooting and stabbing or missions or whatever. You could just roam around in the city. It's so interactive. It's crazy. I've also been playing the Multiverses closed beta. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that.
Heard of it, but I don't know much about it. And now it's something to do with Warner Brothers, is it?
Yeah. So basically, the Warner Brothers characters are in like Super Smash Bros. Sort of game, right? And they have characters from like Game of Thrones, of course, the Looney Tunes, and other various shows. But the potential characters that they could add on is pretty damn big because they're going through the whole catalog, right?
Yeah,
So
Warner
that
Brothers is
means,
deep with characters. I mean, they got DC in there as well.
yeah,
Mortal
yeah,
Kombat as part of Warner Brothers. And of course, yeah, Bugs Bunny, all that. So was it Hanna-Barbera? I think that's all under it as well.
I could tell you some of the characters right now. Like, all right,
All right.
so you already had it right. Bugs Bunny, they got Taz, Steven Universe. I didn't really watch that myself. Adventure Time, Game of Thrones, like I said, Iron Giant, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. Who else? I'm skipping on some. Oh, Harley Quinn, and I'm skipping on some other characters, but that's just the initial. Oh yeah, Shaggy and Velma.
Okay, yeah.
So that's just the starting.
I want to play as Shaggy. I want to play as Shaggy.
They did Shaggy justice. Like, there's this meme about Shaggy having Ultra Instinct from Dragon Ball Super, and yeah, it's hilarious. Everybody that played that game is having so much fun. The closed beta is about to end, I think, today or in 2 days. So, if you didn't get a code, the open beta will happen sooner or later, like in a few months. But that game is fun, and let me tell you, again, the potential characters that they could add into the game goes as far as to Carlton Banks from the Fresh Prince. That was my recommendation. The reason why is because they're adding LeBron James to the game.
Yeah, yeah. They could go to, like, say, Warner Studios. They got Warner TV.
Yeah.
Okay.
So why not?
All those Christopher Nolan movies, they were under Warner Brothers as well. So see the dude from Inception telling up.
Why not? It could keep going and going. This game could be, and it's free to play. So when it comes out, it's free to play. Of course, they're going to have transactions most likely, but they
Oh
haven't
yeah, yeah,
spoken about that too much yet.
yeah. That's pretty much a given when it comes to especially free to play games. In fact, a lot of them pay to play games. They're doing the transactions
Yeah,
anyway, so everybody's trying to get money out of you. Just
always. But as long as the game is good, then and it's
mm,
free to play, then I don't mind dumping some money
yeah,
into it.
yeah.
I see it as like an investment sometimes. Um,
Oh
so
yeah, indeed. I
besides
think
that,
when it comes to certain games, especially if you are playing it, it pisses me off when it gets to the point where you realize you have to kind of pay to get further in the game.
yeah,
Where it becomes that sort of pay to play, pay to win rather.
paywalls.
That sort of thing. But aside from that, yeah, I don't. I mean, I ain't trying to be one of those guys that spend like £10,000 on a bloody mobile game, or whatever. But yeah, you could dump a little cash on it, a little spare cash, five,
Yeah,
10 or something like that, and try not to go too crazy with it. But yeah, why not?
yeah. Like me, I normally pay for microtransactions when it comes to cosmetics.
Hmm.
So like a game like Smite, and by the way, I'm just gonna go on record saying this. Fuck Smite.
Okay.
Um, so a game like Smite, I paid for the skins. Like when I was really into the game back in the day, um, I was paying for those skins like a motherfucker. Now it's drastically different. They're asking for way more money than they ever did before. Not worth it. Some of the skins are still good, but it's just like they're I don't know what's going on. I don't know what happened. I can't fairly, criticize them on it because it could be some legitimate reasons.
Hmm.
But right now, no. No. Never spending another dime on that game.
Did I hear
Uh
like Slipknot going to be in Smite?
di- yes and no. So
Okay,
they added like skins that were inspired by Slipknot or
okay,
supposed to be Slipknot. And it's not even like each like all right, so say they have 5 members in Slipknot. It's not
oh,
like they have 5 different
no, but
characters with those
okay,
skins. No, I'm just
okay,
saying for example, because I know they got a shit ton.
yeah.
But like it's not like they got each different character with that skin. No, it's like they'll take a group of characters, like less than the actual band members, and
Yeah.
just give them multiple skins. So that's kind of
Okay.
lackluster. A little
Okay,
disappointing.
so yeah, I see what you mean. So I guess they probably got Corey in there, and then maybe multiple skins for Corey, and probably got Sean in there as well. Maybe multiple skins for him, and yeah,
Yeah.
okay, I see what you mean. So there's not all Slipknot members are in there. It's just multiple skins for of a few of them.
Well, no, no. What I meant is like so they have a character named Sun Wukong, right?
Hmm.
Instead of another character getting the extra skin, right? Sun Wukong has multiple skins of multiple band members. Does that make more sense?
Oh, okay. So the Slipknot member. Oh, I see what you mean. Okay. So you're
Yeah.
not playing as Slipknot. You're playing as some guy dressed as Slipknot.
Oh yeah, 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 definitely.
Oh, okay, I
Definitely.
see what you mean. Playing
And
Slipknot cosplay in a
now the
game.
reason
Okay.
why that's disappointing is because like imagine if you had a whole team of players that had the skins, you could all wear the same skins, but now it's limited because you have to
Hmm.
have a balanced team: warrior, mage, hunter, guardian, mage, right?
Hmm.
But not everybody has the damn skin. Not every class has the skin. I'm saying, but whatever. That's a rant for another time.
Yeah.
What else I've been playing is well, this goes into the cloud gaming. I tried out Life is Strange True Colors
Okay.
and Tell Me Why. And I'm going to be
What tell you
honest.
why you've been playing that crap or?
That's how I felt. That is how I felt because I'm not gonna lie. True Colors, I got about like 20 to 30 minutes in the game and I cut it off,
Hmm.
gave up. Tell Me Why. I tried that on cloud gaming and it was very, very boring, extremely boring. I can't explain how boring it was for me personally. And not only that, because I'm playing it on cloud, it was going great, right? But then there would be moments where the game would just flicker I don't know how to explain it. It will just the
Right.
screen will flicker, and then next thing you know, your character's elsewhere. The audio will go ahead and go crazy, and then it will slowly go back to normal. And with a boring, slow game, and unfortunately by this company, I think it's Square Enix, when they do games like this, they always talk so monotone. Like,
Mm,
yeah, I was just going around here and I was thinking about this. Like that.
mm,
Imagine hearing that constantly. And the game is going slow. They're talking slow and they're talking about shit that is not even essential. It's not like Telltale games, where, they got pretty much straight to the point. Characters had different inflections with their voices, the way how they pronounce things, the way how they talked.
mm.
Uh, it totally different. And yeah, tell me why, in my opinion, unplayable. I just couldn't get into it. True Colors, it had potential, but overall, it was just too boring for me to continue.
Yeah, True Colors. I mean, I know it's a popular game, and a lot of people love that game, and that's
Yeah,
fine. But yeah, I think I tried it a while ago, and I was bored in about maybe 5-10 minutes. I know I didn't
I
play a
don't
lot of that
blame
game at
you.
all. I was just like, nah, this ain't for me. This is whoever they made it for. I hope you enjoy it. Go forth, have fun, all that. But nah, I feel I could do without that. The
And that's
True
why I was
Colors and Life
disappointed
is
about.
Strange, and no, True Colors I think is a sequel, and then Life is Strange is the first one, isn't it? Or
Yeah,
something like that, anyway. But it
Life is
does have.
Strange. And then they have Life is Strange 2. Life is Strange 2, I will say I enjoyed that game.
I do know that one of the girls who does the voices, girls or women, really.
Mhm.
Let me not be disrespectful. on uh, but yeah, one of the women who does the voices in Life is Strange. I think it's one of the Life is Strange games anyway. Is a lady called Ashley Birch, and she's a voice actor, I guess, mainly.
Mhm.
But she also used to have a YouTube channel called Hey Ash, What You're Playing, and that was a really cool YouTube channel, really funny. So I don't know if you ever heard of that channel, but if
Nah,
you
but I
haven't,
heard of the voice
or
actress.
yeah, yeah, it's worth checking out. It's a shame it doesn't do it anymore because it was a really cool channel. But it was her and I mean, a couple other people, but she was like the main person, I guess. And they just do these sort of short skits and jokes and stuff. And that's how I kind of heard about her. Then I found out later she was a bona fide voice actress that appears in video games and stuff. So
Yeah, I mean, I like whenever the voice actors in games have like their own gaming channel. There's been Brian Deckhart. I'm probably mispronouncing his last name.
mm,
From Detroit Become Human, which is my favorite game of all time. He has his
oh,
own
okay,
Twitch channel actually, and he was,
okay,
he played through the game. And he played other games as well, but him and his wife was also in Detroit Become Human. So it is great to see them actually play the game, and sometimes they brought in other actors that appeared in the game, and they'll bring them in as guests or whatever. It's great. The I forgot the name of the character, but from The Last of Us Part Two, Ellie's girlfriend.
oh yeah, yeah. I know you're talking about Dana. She plays Dana.
Yeah,
Um,
she actually has a
but
YouTube
yeah,
channel as well,
yeah,
and
yeah.
she
I
was
saw that
playing through the
actually.
game.
Yeah, she was playing for her own her own story or something, and I didn't see much of the videos, but yeah, I saw them pop on and watched a little bit of it.
Yeah, so I love watching things like that. It's really
Casamia,
fun to see
I'm
like the
probably gonna butcher her
difference.
name. Never mind.
No, I think you're right. I think it's
Yeah.
Dina, but I might be
I mean,
wrong
her real
too.
name it
So
was like Casa. I'm sure there's a C there. I'm sorry if I've forgotten the name, but yeah, she
mhm,
plays Dana, Dina rather. She plays Dina.
mhm.
But her real name, I've forgotten her real name, but I'm pretty sure there's a C somewhere. Let me try and look it up real quick. Um, but yeah. So as for myself, I haven't been playing a whole lot of different games. I played that one we were talking about earlier, which I won't go into too much details now because I think we need to do a proper podcast about games
Yeah,
like that. But just for the listeners and the viewers, playing this game that I found on Steam, and put it this way: when people talk about can games go too far? I usually say no, it's just a game. It's not real. Da da da. I play this game and I was kind of like, yeah, maybe they can go too far. maybe games can go too far. Maybe, but there's maybe I think there is possibly they can just go too far. So let me just leave that there for now. We'll get back to that another time. But another game I was playing is called Trek to Yomi, which
Oh
I
yeah, I did see
played.
that on Game Pass. I haven't
That's
played it yet.
Yeah, it's on Game Pass. I was playing that partly on the clouds and then partly as a download on the Xbox. It's a pretty cool game. I actually like it. I really do like it. It's very much inspired by Akira Kurosawa movies. If you're familiar with Akira Kurosawa, old school Japanese director, filmmaker.
Hmm.
And so it's black and white samurai law. It's the visuals is very much like those sort of 1950s samurai movies from that era. It's all in Japanese as well with the subtitles, so it's very much like that. All the sounds and the way they speak and everything is all just like a Kurosawa movie from that period of time. So I
Hmm.
definitely like that aspect of it. I got to a part of it. I mean, the game itself has these things where you save, and when you save, it regenerates your health. But you can only save once. You can't use that save point like multiple times. Once you save, you got to get to the next save point, and it, like checkpoints, I guess, really. Which is fine. I don't mind that. But as you might
Hmm.
imagine, is like enemies between checkpoints, between save points, get more and harder and that sort of thing. And
Hmm.
I'm just at this point in the game where the next checkpoint, it just seems like it's a million miles away with all these enemies in between. And of course, different enemies have different ways you defeat them because they have different attacks, and you have to try and employ different ways of defeating them. And you learn different combos of things as you go along and different ways of fighting as you go along. But it can be difficult to pull off the moves sometimes because you're trying to block, and then when you're blocking you can't do the moves as properly, and it gets hella frustrating. And so yeah, I've just been on that bit for a while where I'm just dying multiple times. And I'm like, oh, bloody hell, man. Like, you get to that point where you just kind of wonder, do I actually have the patience for this game anymore, or should I just put it down and never come back to it again?
Yeah,
But
I
it's a
really
cool
wanted
game
to play
still.
Sifu, and that's what it reminded me of when you're talking about it.
Okay, I haven't played it, but yeah, I know the one you mean.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's that came out last. No, came out this year, I think.
Yeah, just a couple of months ago it came out,
Mm.
if I'm not mistaken, but definitely this year.
But I think with that one, I think I heard something about how the character gets older and older as you go along, and to the point where you could actually become an old man or something like that. And I mean, someone who's played it would would know, um, I know what more. But I'm sure I heard something like that where I think each time you die or each time you do something, your character does get older and older and older, and
Yeah.
you eventually become like an old, I don't know, beggar guy from
Yeah, so
Beggar Mansu or
it became
something.
a challenge for people to go ahead and go through the whole game without dying, so they could just be young or whatever. And yeah, they even released a harder difficulty and an easier difficulty for people who felt like the game wasn't easy enough. I haven't played it, so I'm not judging.
Mm.
When it comes to hard games, I don't have too much patience for that. Like the hardest game that I played of recent memory, I'm not going to say the hardest game of all time because that would be Lion King, but whatever, would
Wait,
be
Lion King's the
Cuphead.
hardest game of all time.
Yes, that's the hardest. Listen, I
Oh,
don't care what
okay.
anyone says. Go ahead,
I've
play
not
that
played it,
game.
but all right. It's I
Eh,
mean,
Play it.
when it comes about hardest games, I don't think everyone's ever had uh Lion King. I mean, you usually hear, I don't know, like Dark Souls or
Uh huh.
whatever, and like, okay,
But
okay,
trust me,
all right.
and it's a funny story behind it. There's history behind that. The reason why it's so hard, even though it's a kids game, is because back then, remember, people used to rent games. So people would rent games and then beat them and then bring them back, right? And that
Okay.
would be it. But if you can't beat a game, you're going to buy it most likely. That's how the gaming company thought.
Oh,
So
right.
they
So you could try and
purposely
yeah, yeah.
made it as difficult as possible. So you would go ahead and buy the game instead. It's insane.
Okay. That
I
makes sense actually from a business point of view. But, all right.
Yeah, it was clever, but they're assholes for that, and they traumatized me because I remember being like 4 or 5 years old and watching Simba die multiple times, and they play the music, the sad music. Uh, they show Simba dying in like with a black screen behind him. It's crazy. It's depressing, and yeah, I'm traumatized by that game. That game is hard as hell. I don't care what anyone says. I dare you to buy that game, rent that game, whatever. And it's available on most consoles now. Like they have the Sega collection, so they have Lion King and Aladdin, together.
Hmm.
Now they have a rewind function, but you're a coward if you use that. I use that. I'm a coward.
Well, as long as we're clear on that fact. By the way, real quick, so the lady who plays Dina, her name's Shannon Woodward.
Ah,
So there was no C in her name at all.
yeah.
No, I don't know why I thought there was a C in her name, but for some reason I thought she had a C in her name, and of all the letters she has in her name, none of them are a C. So it's Shannon Woodward. So yeah, big up Shannon Woodward for her portrayal of Dina in The Last of Us Part Two.
Yeah, I
Um,
like that game a lot.
yeah, it's a cool game. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I know a lot of people, well, maybe not a lot, but a vocal number of people, vocal group of people really hated, like Abby and stuff like that. I thought Abby was one of
Man,
the best characters there. She was really interesting.
damn right.
And just from, especially, I liked that they looked, because you're from the first game, you got this guy who you just kind of mindlessly do away with as you do in video games. You'll give it second thought. But everybody has a life, right? Everybody is somebody. And it turns out this person was a doctor. He has a daughter. He has his own family. And just as Ellie wants revenge, she wants revenge, right? I mean,
Yeah.
why not? What makes sense for one person makes sense for the other. And so I like that you play as two different characters, kind of leading to the same place. And I know a lot of people were disappointed with the ending. Personally, I felt the ending made a lot of sense.
Hmm.
And by the way, let me just say this: spoilers, real quick for any. While my hand is like this, spoilers. If you listen for audio, then skip to the next bit of the screen. Next number. There were timestamp in the description. So on my hands like this, spoilers. Will skip to the next timestamp. But yeah, the way it ended with Ellie not killing Abby, I just felt that made a lot of sense. Just because it wasn't about revenge in the end, but just more realizing that the path she was on was hurting her, and when she goes back to her town and Dina's not there, it's like yes, that because she told her, look, I can't be with you if you're gonna go on this, so she
Mhm.
doesn't get to come back and live happily ever after. She made her choice, So for me, I just felt like yeah, the ending made sense. The fact that Ellie kind of had that realization, but doesn't get the happy ending herself. That in my opinion was a great move. So yeah, I'm for one appreciated that ending. Do you want to say any spoilers real quick before I put my hand down? Or
Yeah, I was one of the people that was kind of disappointed with the ending. I felt like it should have been one of those endings where you could make a decision. So
okay,
Ellie, either you could choose to play as Abby or choose to play as Ellie, and then decide what you want to do. Do you want
okay,
to
okay.
kill or do you want to spare? That would have added more diversity with the endings, and but it would have been more work, of course. But
Hmm.
um, I was really disappointed that they didn't do that. It's not like it ruined the game for me or anything. It was just
Hmm.
like Ellie went so far. I could see why people were mad that she didn't kill Abby, besides the fact that they hate Abby. But Ellie went so far. And like when we got to that last section of the game, I was like, God damn, enough already. I'm enjoying this game, but damn. It's like when you're watching a good movie and they just added on another hour. It's like,
Hmm.
holy shit, enough. She went
Yeah.
that far just to go ahead and back out. Like, yeah, that is a little frustrating, but I get why she didn't do it, story wise.
Hmm.
Incredible game, man. Great writing, and I just really liked Abby. I agree with some people that um, the way how Abby and Ellie should have been working together should have been different. Well, they weren't working together, but
But yeah.
initially they should have been working together, and then reveal. the whole connection with Joel and everything. That would have been more acceptable because you would have fell, people
Mm.
would have fell in love with Abby instead of Abby just coming out of nowhere and just beating motherfuckers' asses like Brock Lesnar or something, But yeah, that's all I got to say. I really love that game.
Yeah, and it was a great game. I feel like between that one and the first one, yeah, they managed to tell a really incredible story.
Hmm.
With that, I would say this though, kind of a nitpick. I would say it doesn't ruin the game, but definitely something that I noticed. This game kind of gets talked about as being woke and socially aware and that kind of thing, but
Hmm.
which is, I guess, that's a fair assessment for the most part. But between The Last of Us Part One and The Last of Us Part Two, um, all characters, all non-white characters with a speaking role, yeah, with a sort of a major kind of speaking role,
Hmm.
um, don't survive the end of the game.
That is true.
Yeah.
Uh,
Now that's not
but
to say that all the white characters survive. I'm not saying that because that's not true either. But
mhm,
all all non-white speaking characters, with the exception of, I guess, Lev, in the part two,
mhm.
um, and possibly Alessandro's dad, but he was dying anyway, so who knows? But yeah, pretty much all the non-white characters that have a speaking role don't make it to the end of the game. So
Even Ellie's girlfriend,
uh
the first girlfriend.
yeah, yeah,
Oh
and
wait,
Riley,
so
Riley.
yeah, Riley.
Mm.
But yeah, well, Dina lived. Dina, I don't think Dina's
Can we
white.
kill? Well, she's Jewish.
Oh,
It was
she
like that.
is.
Yeah, she was Jewish. I mean,
Oh,
Jewish is a religion. I know that, but technically,
no, no,
kind
no.
of,
I get what you mean.
yeah. Okay. Can we? Okay, if we're not counting Jewish people as white, then Dina survives the end of the game. The
But
one
I will say
character.
this: I didn't find Life is Strange 2 to be woke. Like,
All
I
right, so
didn't
yeah,
feel
done with
like,
spoilers. Cool.
yeah, I didn't feel like it was woke or anything. I felt like, the way how they played it was exactly how you should play it. You shouldn't bring it like full force, like, hey guys, notice this, notice this, notice this, like all in your face,
Mm,
or making that the personality trait. No, this character had a story, um, and when she got attacked, yeah, I'm not gonna spoil too much, but when that happened, it took me back, and I was just as mad as Abby. So yeah, I feel like people are just a little too quick to throw out words without
yeah.
understanding. Okay, no, don't throw that out yet. That's just your opinion. Relax.
Mm. Oh, for sure. I think that's we see a lot of that on you know Twitter especially as well. You were talking about earlier about
Hmm.
sort of not getting into arguments with people and just going back and forth on Twitter because it's just like that. People just throw out words they don't. And I'm pretty convinced a lot of times people don't really know what they're saying. They're just saying it because they
They
maybe
don't.
heard it somewhere and it sounds like the thing to say, and they don't necessarily even know what it actually means. And it's
Hmm.
like, look, I ain't trying to go back and forth with some random on the internet, so just let me just allow it. Just allow it.
Exactly. And sometimes people are just looking to be
Mm,
the next person that gets all those likes and gets screenshotted and put in some damn article. That's what they're looking for. That's it.
yeah, yeah. Not today, Satan. Not today. Um, all right, so yeah, before we move on, let me just say this real quick in terms of what I've been watching. I started watching Firefly, which was a show that aired originally back in 2002. It's on Disney Plus right now, and I never watched it back when it was on originally, like 20 years ago. I heard
Hmm.
of it, but I never watched it. I know it's a popular show. A lot of people love that show. Till this day, a lot of people still love that show. But I just never watched it. It never really appealed to me. But yeah, I started watching that. I'm on episode 6 right now. Just watched episode 6 today. And yeah, gotta say it's pretty cool. I'm definitely enjoying it. It's funny. I like the kind of Western sci-fi kind of vibe to it. The characters are interesting.
Hmm.
It's it's a shame. I mean, I know it's only 14 episodes in one season, so I'm already kind of thinking it's a shame it didn't last that long in the end. But oh well, it is what it is. Perhaps if I'd watched it back then, that'd have been a one view they need to make a second season. But hey, it is what it is. But yeah, I've been watching that recently and trying to get through that. And Better Call Saul. That's started it a few weeks back.
I
Watching
need to
that.
catch up on that. Last one that I watched was like maybe season 2.
Okay,
Uh,
you're way behind
I'm-
then. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It was a good like I really like the guy who plays Saul. I like him as an actor. Hell, I
Mm,
love the character especially. I do like the cameos, but I don't know. It was something about it that just got me bored eventually. And I will say, for me personally, and this could change once I start to show up again. Um, Saul's girlfriend or partner,
okay. Yeah.
um, she seems a little too stoic and a little too stiff. I know sometimes she let loose and she has some emotional scenes, which is great. So she is a good actor, but overall, I just a majority of the time she just bored me. So that's what pulled me out of the show, and eventually I just stopped watching. They had some great moments, like with
Mm,
Saul and his brother in that trial.
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that was intense. Uh, and I loved what Saul did. But yeah, I do want to get back into the show now that I know that they are having the last season.
Yeah, this is season 6, I think.
Yeah,
5
6,
or 6, yeah, 6. And yeah,
6.
but it's the last season, and I, I'm, I mean, it's one of these things where I mean, I watched it because I enjoy it, but I also want to know what happens with the girlfriend, Wexler, Kim Wexler's her name, because
Hmm.
she's not in Breaking Bad, right? So it's like,
Hmm.
what happens to her? She's made it this far. It's not like they didn't kill her off like 2 seasons ago. She's still there.
Hmm.
Hopefully that's not a spoiler, by the way. Whoops. but but yeah, it's like, what happens? So how does she exit the show, like, or how does she exit, his life? I think that's going to be a real interesting thing, because are they going to kill her off at the end, or are they going to get divorced and she just goes away and lives a completely different life? Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
But at the moment, she's there. They're on, I think it's episode 5 or 6. I can't remember where they are right now, but I guess they're about halfway through, or a little over halfway through the season. Um, and yeah, so the next few episodes, next few weeks, so doing it weekly, we'll have to see what happens and what happens with Rhea Seaborn's character. So yeah, they could be interesting few weeks for a Better Call Saul. But yeah, definitely would say it's worth watching. I mean, at this point, it's probably worth starting it again, or waiting for
Yeah, I'm
this
gonna
to end
have
and just
to.
watching it from the beginning. Um,
I'm gonna have
yeah.
to start over. Yeah, and by the time catch up, it's gonna be done. At
Mm,
least I hope so, because I'm not gonna be binge watching it. I'm gonna watch it, like a couple of episodes here and there.
yeah,
Um, you know,
as you can. Yeah. But speaking of shows, though, Obi-Wan, if you're interested in Star Wars, that's starting tomorrow, I think. The Obi-Wan
yeah,
Kenobi show on Disney Plus. That's starting tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, it's Star Wars, so I'm just going to watch it anyway. I mean, I generally don't expect them to be amazing at this point, but it's Star Wars. I'm going to watch it. I'm not going to pretend like I'm not going to watch it out there. No, it's Star Wars. I'm going to watch it. That's just how that works.
yeah,
um, but then Stranger Things, that's what I'll say. I'm looking forward to new season of Stranger Things. I think that's gonna be the last season as well. But apparently the episodes are gonna be long.
yeah.
Like
They are.
they're like an hour and a half, 2.5 hours, some episodes.
Yeah,
And bruh,
and I heard that part two
just
of
gonna have to
the
make some time
final
to.
season is actually
Right, it's
going
in
to
parts
have
as well.
only
Yeah,
4 episodes.
yeah. So they split the last season into parts. They kind of longed it out a bit. I guess I
Yeah.
don't know. I'm kind of thinking what probably happened is that the actors wanted like $8 million per episode. So like, okay, let's just make the episodes longer. We'll give you $8 million, but we're just gonna make the episodes longer and pay. It's just like 2 episodes, 5 hours each.
But I will say I never got into Stranger Things. Um, but as far as like the whole Obi-Wan show, I'm mainly gonna watch it for McGregor.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, because from the trailer I wasn't excited. Even when they had the whole teaser at the end of the trailer, I'm not gonna say what it is, just in case people haven't watched it.
I didn't
But
watch the
even when
trailer,
they
so
had that
yeah,
little,
appreciate that.
yeah. So even when they had that little teaser, I was like, I'm still not interested, but I'm gonna watch it because I do have faith in it. I didn't watch the Boba Fett show. I didn't watch
Okay,
that one, but I
that was all right.
loved Mandalorian.
Mandalorian's, I think, is the best when they've only done two, I guess, really. No, they've done Bad Batch. I never watched Bad Batch though. I just couldn't be bothered with that.
Oh yeah, I didn't watch that. I didn't watch that.
That was it was an
I
animated. I
forgot
just
what
thought,
that
nah,
was for a
allow
second.
it. Look, I'm not trying to say it's rubbish. It just didn't look like there's
Mm,
enough. I mean,
I
I
haven't
know I
heard
said I'm good.
anybody talking about it.
I should probably clarify because a moment ago I said it's Star Wars. That means I'm going to watch it. I very rarely watch the animated stuff when it comes to Star Wars. The live action stuff, all over it, but the
Well,
animated
did you
stuff,
see
I just
Clone
don't
Wars?
bother. No, I'm not seeing Clone Wars now.
I highly suggest that. Some people say just start on season 2, but Clone Wars is pretty damn good.
Do they
Pretty
have
damn
Clone Wars
good.
on Disney Plus? They must do, right?
Uh,
Well,
I hope
well,
so, but
I guess they don't have to,
not the cartoon, but the CGI one.
because there was I know it was like two shows, I mean two series that they did,
Yeah,
like one older one and the one back in 2000 something and one 2000 whatever it was. But I know there's like two sets of shows called Clone Wars, and I know there's a
yeah. There's
movie
one
called
that's the
Clone Wars as
cartoon,
well.
and then yeah, there's the one that's the cartoon, and there's one that's CGI. Watch the CGI one.
Okay, yeah, looks like I've got one on Disney Plus, so yeah. Uh, there's a cartoon CGI, and okay, cool. I'm not sure they got the movie, but maybe that's buried down somewhere. Cool. Might have to check those out then.
Yeah.
All right. Things to do. No time to do them. It's life, man. It's life. All right then. So yeah, let's move on to the main topic of the day. We want to talk about cloud gaming. We talked a little bit about cloud gaming the last time we spoke, but I
Hmm.
will go into a bit more detail with it now because, like I say, I feel like there's a lot to be said about it. You mentioned earlier that you were playing a couple of games on cloud. So
Yeah.
the games themselves, you mentioned, but the experience of playing on the cloud, like what was that like for you? Like how did that go?
I like the fact that it starts up fast. Um, you don't have to wait for a download. A download typically takes, even with my internet is fast. It's not the best, but it's fast, and it still takes like about an hour at least to download the average game.
Hmm.
With that said, at the same time, when I'm playing a game and it starts to glitch out, it kind of takes me out of it. Like I
Hmm.
was saying when I played Tell Me Why, first off, it was a very boring game, very slow, but I was only at the beginning, to be fair. So if it wasn't glitching, I assumed I would have gotten a little further and gave it some more time, like I did for True Colors. True Colors, I played both on cloud and downloading it.
Hmm.
Cloud gaming, if they somehow fix it where it doesn't glitch when there's no out of sync moments, it's going to be incredible.
Was it just
And
that
that's
game though, or was they
now it was
both
multiple
glitching?
games.
Okay.
I mean, I haven't found one game that I didn't play a lot on cloud, but I haven't found one game that didn't do that moment where it glitched, where it went out of sync for a moment. Um,
Mm.
to be more specific, the screen will just flicker. The frames will just mess up. Like you ever seen a person on a webcam and then all of a sudden it just messed, like all the pixels just go all around. It's weird.
Mm.
That's what it was doing for me while I was playing the game. So that's the only gripe that I really have about it. Other than that, it's very convenient. I would love to be able to just play games and then choose to
Mm.
download them if I want to.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think I kind of echo that. I mean, for me, I like the idea of cloud gaming. I've always liked the idea of cloud gaming, even from way back when on live was a thing. If you remember that, that's going back maybe about 10 years.
Hmm.
where they launched a service called On Live, and at the time, I just felt it was a really really good idea. But unfortunately, it didn't last long because it was poorly executed, and I think it probably came at a time when the world wasn't quite ready for it. Um, and I remember playing one Batman game on live where you're playing and it'd be fun. And I had a super fast internet at the time as well, so it's like, well, I still do, but I had a fast internet back then. So you're playing and it'd be fine for maybe a minute or two, and then you get this lag, and it'd be so annoying.
Yeah.
And it was like they had like a couple of options where you subscribe. I think you subscribe for like £10 a month, and you get some discounts or something like that. And other than that, you can buy the games and that sort of thing. Um, and yeah, I think I played Batman. I think I got like an offer to get Batman for real cheap, so I did that. But it was just so frustrating trying to play the game because like yeah, it would lag a lot. It would constantly stutter, and it was just
Mhm.
clear that whatever technologies they're using, it just was not working. So eventually, the company, I guess I don't know if they went out of business or they got bought over, or but they're not really around anymore.
Mm.
Um, but it did kind of leave a bad taste in my mouth for cloud gaming. So when things like PlayStation Now came along, I was kind of like, I don't know about this. I like the idea, but I don't know. I don't know if I don't know if the internet's ready for that. I don't know if internet's good enough for that. But in the last sort of year, no, probably more recent than that, well, because I had a Game Pass probably more than a year I've had Game Pass, but I guess in the recent months ish where they've launched like the cloud gaming aspects of it, or they've made it more available, or I don't. Well, I've known about it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not hearing about the news. But I had Game Pass. I was downloading the games and doing that. Then I found out about the cloud gaming option. And what in my experience, I find that and it's not really supposed to matter what your hardware is because it's supposed to be the internet connection, right? In
Yeah.
my experience, I think it does matter your hardware at least to some extent. I'm not sure what exactly it is, but it does seem to matter because when I played on my older phone, it was abysmal. Like it barely loads. It was terrible. I play on my Xbox. It's all the same internet connection, by the way. I play on my Xbox One, and again it's not that good. It comes through, but a lot of textures don't load. It seems to play okay in terms of like the control, but
Hmm.
it's like you're looking at like a glitching game where the colors are all off. um when I play it on my computer, my desktop computer, it runs pretty smoothly, but every now and then it's like a tiny little hiccup, like it would just stall for a second and it'll run smoothly again. When I play on my laptop, however, smooth as butter. No issues at all.
Mm.
I've got a newer phone now. When I play on that, again, smooth as butter, no issues at all. So I don't know why it runs better on my phone than it does on the Xbox. Right?
Yeah, I when I played
It's
the
weird.
cloud games, uh, or rather the games on cloud, I was playing on my Xbox.
Okay,
Yeah.
and it was coming through like all the colors all mash up and
Not constantly, but it was happening frequently. So like
mm,
I say every 5-10 minutes or so, it would start to happen.
yeah, I mean, you'd think it would run the best on an Xbox because it's Microsoft, it's their console. Surely
Hmm.
it should run on their own machine.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the reason behind it is, but yeah, in my experience, it runs better. And even Stadia, I find it runs better on my phone than it does on my computer. So I don't know what the thing that causes that is, whether it's a video codec. I don't know. I really don't know. But yeah, it's a weird problem. Um, but yeah, I mean, I would say generally speaking, though, I do still like the idea of cloud gaming. But like you said
Yeah,
before,
me
it's
too.
convenient. The fact that you could just like be pretty much anywhere, load up a game and start playing. That's incredible. I could play the latest games literally on my phone. I've done this. I've been out on 3G or 4 or 5G connection, depending on where I am, and just play it, and it's fine. It's crazy that you can do that. Like this. you could play these games that normally you might need some high end machine to run, and I'm just
Hmm.
sitting in my car, you know, playing this game. It's crazy, you know. So yeah, I definitely like the idea of cloud gaming. I think it's something that I personally feel like I'm super on board with. Like I feel like in my mind, I don't want to buy another console again. I really don't. I don't want to buy an Xbox Series X. I don't want to buy a PlayStation 5 or Nintendo Pro if they ever actually do one of those. You know, I like the fact that on what I have right now, you know, the same laptop or the same whatever it is, that I can play these games just like that. That appeals to me so much more than, you know, console and downloading and having to get the latest disc and making or in PC gaming where, you know, you gotta have brand new graphics card every 5 years or whatever it is, and processors and this, that, and the other, and long ting, man, long ting, you know, cloud gaming, and it's just there. So
Yeah,
for me personally, I feel like the pros far outweigh the cons. That being said, there are definitely some cons. You know,
without a
there
doubt.
are definitely some cons, and we'll talk about those as well. Not to be too biased and one sided. Like, listen, none of these companies are paying us to promote this shit, so it's like, you know what I mean. We got to cuss it out too. You know what I mean. We can't just kiss its ass all day. Um, but what are some of the well, in case you mentioned some of the cons about the loading properly, but what's some of the other cons that you think about cloud gaming that you think needs to be addressed or should be addressed?
I mean, obviously, like if you don't have internet connection, or if your
Mm.
internet connection is shoddy, you're not going to enjoy it. You're not going to be
Yeah.
able to enjoy it. Um, that'll be the number one thing. Uh, Sometimes, like for example, I feel like it's easier, or for me, I'm a little old school still. Like I want my saved data on my hardware, not on some damn cloud service,
Mm.
because I come from the generation where we save on the memory card and you
Yeah,
save two times just in case.
yeah.
Okay. So I don't want to rely on a cloud service that could exactly. I don't want to rely on a cloud service that might go ahead and corrupt my data. Once that's gone, it's gone. They don't back it up, as
Mm.
far as I know. I wouldn't mind both, like hardware and cloud, but don't make it strictly cloud. That's why I don't prefer. Because
Mm.
let me tell you, there's a game like 2K, NBA 2K. If you have no internet connection, there are some game modes you can't even play. Right?
Okay.
I prefer playing in career mode. So I can't play in career mode if my PlayStation isn't connected to the internet. So sometimes people just don't want to be connected online, or they're
Mm.
not able to connect online.
Yeah.
When they were talking about making Xbox online only, for
Yeah, I remember
example,
that. Yeah.
people in the military were complaining because, again, they have issues getting online. Some people just want to play their damn game.
Mm.
So, you know, I wouldn't say this should hold cloud gaming back or anything, but that's the one of the disadvantages that comes to mind instantly when I think about cloud gaming.
Mm.
I wouldn't want cloud gaming to be um, an exclusive thing for any game. Like I
Yeah.
would want that to just be an option.
Yeah. No, I think that's actually a very I don't 'cause I no, I didn't think of that point, but yeah, certainly people who I mean, yeah, there's always going to be people with internet issues, but then there's certain people who, like say, in the military, or other places where you just don't always have the internet connection. Not
Yeah.
because you don't want it or you can't afford it. It's just not possible to always have a good internet connection. So if cloud gaming, I mean, I do feel like cloud gaming has the potential to become big, and possibly the predominant way people choose to play games in the next, say, 5 to 10 years. But then if that happens, yeah, I think there should still be options for people to be able to play without the internet connection, where you can just download the game, or you can just, you know, download something that means you can play whatever, you know. Otherwise, yeah, it does cut out as maybe not most people, sure, but it's certainly a significant number of people.
hmm I would also like to add that I just remembered I played cloud on the PlayStation. Like not recently. This was a few years back,
Mm.
maybe even more, and I had no issues. They tell you that you have a time limit though. They'll say, "All right, you could play." You know, I think it was PS Now. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
PS Now
yeah,
that
would
I
have been,
had.
yeah, PS
They
now,
said, "All
yeah,
right, you could play, but you know you only get this amount of time." It was a good
but
amount of time though. It was like 2 3 hours maybe,
all right, okay,
but it went smooth. I don't remember having any issues. I was playing I can even name the game that I was playing. It was Catherine, which is like a puzzle game.
oh yeah, 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 another game. I
Yeah,
haven't, I
and
mean, I
so
played a
there's
little bit of it, but yeah,
so there's always like a lot going on with the screen, and there was no lag, none of that that was going on with the game that I played on Xbox. But again, to be fair, I didn't play too many games to really see, you know.
mm,
But for the couple of games that I did play on cloud, it had that issue.
mm,
So again, I would like to also add another thing in the defense of Xbox. It's in the beta phase. They made that
that
very
is true.
clear.
Yeah, yeah, it's in
The
the
cloud
beta. Yeah,
gaming is in the beta phase, so of course they're gonna have issues, and they always want feedback. So I gave them feedback. I didn't just say, "Hey, your shit is lagging." I gave them some feedback. I told them
this
exactly
sucks.
what was
Fix
going
it.
on
All
because you
that money,
can't.
you have this shitty service. What the hell?
You're too busy buying Bethesda.
Exactly, arseholes.
Oh man.
Yeah, no, that's true. They are they've been in beta for a while, to be fair, but yeah, they are still technically well, maybe technically they are still in beta. So yeah, I guess you kind of have to allow certain things for the time being because it isn't a fully. Although I do feel like it runs pretty smoothly, at least in some of my experiences, it runs pretty
Mhm.
well. But yeah, it is still in beta, and they are going to have problems. And hopefully, by the time whenever they do put it out fully, all those issues have been resolved. But well, that still waits to be seen. For myself, when it comes to the cons of cloud gaming, like some of the stuff that I've heard people say, which don't apply to me, and I imagine don't necessarily apply to most gamers either, but still, you know, can apply to a significant number of people. Um, but when it comes to things like lag and sort of internet connection outages, because no matter how good your internet connection is, occasionally you're gonna have a drop. It happens, right? It's just the
Yeah.
way it is. And sometimes, if you're unlucky, that drop could happen during like a really intense moment or something. Now, for a lot of gamers, that's not much more than a minor inconvenience because you could play it again or whatever, and it sucks, but it's not the end of the world, right? It's not that a bigger deal. It's just like I said, just a more of a minor inconvenience. Um, but for people who play, say, professional level gaming, that's not a minor inconvenience. That's an absolute no go. Like you cannot have that drop in at any point because that could be the difference between winning and losing, and that could be the
Mhm.
difference between being a millionaire and not. So there's a lot on the line when it comes to that level of gaming, right?
Yeah, like
So
people who stream and that's their livelihood.
yeah. So yeah, I feel like when it comes to lags, I mean, unless you get to a point where the internet connections are so super stable that that sort of thing just never happens anymore, then yeah, I feel like that's always going to be a big contention point for people who play either sort of pro level or semi pro level, because you just can't have that kind of drops. I mean, I guess to be in fairness though, if even if you're playing a game, let's say you download the game to your computer, if you're playing online as a multiplayer online anyway, there's always that possibility that could happen.
Mhm.
Just in a multiplayer game anyway. But I guess the difference being is that if it happens there, um, actually, because I don't even know what the difference is. You probably just lose anyway. It sucks anyway, I
Well, I
suppose.
feel like on
But
cloud it would be more frequent. It's more of a
mm,
risk.
yeah, I guess it's probably more of an issue on the cloud because I guess if it happened, or I guess it's maybe what I'm trying to say is that it's if you have the game downloaded, it's at least one less thing you have to worry about.
Yeah.
Rather than okay, yes, you can still have these problems that are outside of your control, but I guess if you got the game downloaded, it's just that one less thing to worry about.
Yeah.
Mm. Um, what was this? So, there's some stuff that I wrote down. So yeah, the idea of playing, with cloud gaming, like you could play anywhere. I kind of feel that's a little bit of a myth as well because I mean you can play anywhere. Like I said, I've been in my car with my phone playing whatever. You can play anywhere, but I think in reality you're not going to do that, and the reason for that is because as it is right now, most games that you're playing, or maybe not most games, but certainly a lot of games that are available on the cloud services aren't really made for portable gaming. They're not, like PlayStation portable games. They're not Game Boy games. These are games being made for console, where you would typically be in your home playing for an hour, 2 hours, or something like that when you got the time. But when you're out, you might not. In fact, you're very rarely going to have just 2 hours to just sit down and play a game. You might, because you'd be playing like on your break, or at work, or when you're waiting for the bus, or waiting for somebody to turn up, where you got like a 10-15 minute spare. So games that are being made with, say, console in mind, and then trying to play those when you're out as a portable game, yes, it technically can be done, but the actual practice of it means that you might end up playing for a little bit, realize that whatever you need to do, your break's over, whatever it is, you haven't got to that next save point yet. You can't just pause it because eventually it times out of the server, right? Um,
Mhm.
so at some point, you're just going to have to play those bits again, you know? Um, so yeah, I feel like if cloud gaming is going to be, or like I said, it does have the potential to become this dominant, or much more prevalent way of playing games. If that is to happen, then I think it could involve a shift, or certainly a change in how developers make games. Because if you're making games to be played, for on a home console where you're at home for a long period of time, but then at the same time people might be playing while they're out, where they might not have long periods of time. How do you balance that? And to be honest, some games kind of do that already, just anyway, just how they're made, and they're kind of suitable for that. But a lot of games aren't, especially if you're playing like a multiplayer game where you might have a 20-minute multiplayer session and you only got a 15-minute break. You know what I mean? So yeah, I feel like there if it's going to happen, part of what needs to happen is that kind of shift in how developers create games and what kind of things they put in the games, whether it's more save points or stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. But I feel like for when you're playing games like that on the go, it's more for like when you're, for example, if I'm traveling on a train or a bus, it's going to be a while.
Mm,
So I remember I had a job downtown, and it took like an hour and a half to go, an hour and a half to come back, especially if I had to take a bus instead of a train.
mm,
So during that time, I could just be playing that game, and I'll be, by the
yeah,
time I'm done on my ride, I'll be like, all right, and I'll be satisfied. Like it will just fly by. I think it's
yeah,
for that. And they have,
yeah,
besides the whole issue with, time, I think also controllers, like they're adding controllers now that you could just attach to your phone.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you could, instead of using the touch screen. So
Yeah, that's
it's,
definitely a better option, by the way, for touchscreen
yeah,
units. Some games maybe, but for the most part, nah, allow it.
yeah, you don't want to be pressing your screen too damn hard when you're playing
Mm.
a frustrating game. So
Ah,
yeah, so I really do like the direction that they're going in. Um, it, it, it some people will go ahead and worry about like how much time we're investing in games at that point. Like it could build like I don't want to sound too old or anything, but it could build on addictions
mm,
because if somebody's already hooked on games, that's all they play at home. Now they could play it when they're on the go as much as
yeah,
they want the same games, especially if it's like they're trying to, I don't know if it's already like that, but they're trying to make it where, like, say if I'm playing on, I think the Switch is like this, but correct me if I'm wrong. Say I'm playing on the console, then I got to go to work. I go ahead and grab my phone and I just pick up where I left off. They're trying to make it like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And
at that point, it could be a little too addictive. So that would be one of my concerns. And this is coming from a gamer. I play, like, I'm already hooked on games. Like I told you, I've been putting so many hours into Red Dead Redemption 2. So for the moments where I have to be pulled away from that game, and now I still have access to that game, imagine how many more hours I can put into it.
mm,
That gets a little, that's a little unhealthy, I would say.
yeah, and I think certainly like if you're say on the bus or on the train or in the back of a cab, where you have that kind of time to play, that kind of works. Um, and I guess to be fair, yeah, if you, I know people who go to school maybe might have that sort of 45 plus minutes to kind of get into the game, that can work. And then assuming the connection holds up. But then it's back to that issue you just mentioned now, how much time is too much. Should you be playing games with that much? And it's interesting because I was talking to somebody the other day and he was talking about his, daughter gaming and that kind of thing. And he's a gamer, and so it's cool that she's playing games. But now that he's a parent, it's like, should he be allowing her to play games so much? How much is too much? You know what I mean? I guess that's
Yeah.
always going to be that line that's different for different people. Whereas one person could play for 2, 3, 4 hours straight and be fine. Another person plays for 20 minutes and has problems. So it's an. I mean, I guess for the sort of general rule of thumb stays the same as it is now. You can do anything as much as you want as long as it's not interfering with your life. I think that's the point where it probably becomes too much. And in the case of, like you say, maybe somebody who's going to school, I mean, you're not going to be doing your homework on a bus anyway, so at least you really shouldn't be. Like, so whatever, right? But then, yeah, maybe people who are working, especially the type of people who, kind of just stay working. They got like, laptops with them all the time, and they're always like typing up some TPS report or whatever, right? And
Hmm.
they maybe in times when they should be doing that, they're gaming. That could be a problem because I don't know, maybe it affects the annual merger or whatever, and you know what I mean. Now the board
Yeah.
corporate team have to liaise with the marketing, and that doesn't happen because this guy was playing. Yeah, you can tell I've worked in office, right? uh, but you know what I mean. Like when things are supposed to be done that aren't getting done because you're spending too much time playing games. I guess that is a kind of general rule where you can say it's gone too far. But I'll say that's
Yeah.
probably the same with anything: too much TV, too much book reading, too much whatever. Anytime it becomes an interference to the things that you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I can't help but think, like, I'm not that old or anything, but I can't help but think, like, what it was like. Like, I could hardly remember what it was like before cell phones. Not,
Okay.
well, not cell phones, before smartphones, because
Okay. I think
um
I can remember, but all right, cool, cool.
I can hardly remember it. Cause like, for
Back
me,
in
for
my
my age group.
day. I need a rocking chair for this one, actually. Back in, and a blanket. That's a good idea, actually, bro. I need to get a rocking chair, and a blanket, and some slippers. Boy,
That
and a
does sound
pipe.
comfy.
Oh, I need that. A rocking chair. Oh, listen, yeah. Next time, man's gonna have a rocking chair, blanket, slippers, and a pipe. Back in my day. Sorry, man.
But
What
yeah,
was that?
like, no, it's cool. With my age group, like, it was such an advancement with technology out of
Mm,
nowhere while we were growing up. Like, I come from where I was still using cassette tapes and CDs, burning CDs now.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then
yeah.
the iPod came out. Well, MP3 players and then iPod. Um, and now, smartphones and everything. Like, it's crazy the difference between, like, just 20 over the span of 20 some odd years. It's crazy. So
Mm,
um and now people are just sucked into their phones, and they made it to where now you can't even, you know just I say several or more years ago, if you're on a train, that's it. You gotta wait till you come above ground so you have connection again.
Mm,
But now they have it to where you can go ahead and
yeah.
still have internet
Got
connection
that Wi-Fi on the
underground.
trains. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it's insane. And I'm thinking about like 5, 10 years from now, what else? So
Mm,
yeah, I feel like we're I don't want to get too preachy, but I do feel like we're becoming a little too hooked on, gaming and smartphones and all
mm,
that, the internet in general, or whatever,
yeah.
becoming a little too dependent on it. Because I tell you what, if you take away my smartphone, ah, I
Well,
mean,
you
yeah, I'll have
fighting.
my laptop, but fuck, like I wouldn't know how to travel. No, I'll be lost. I would have to ask the taxi, like, listen, take me somewhere, please. Please find where I gotta go.
You know what? I think it's just that. I mean, yes, we are using phones more, but I think it's also to remember like phones are not just phones anymore. Like they haven't been just phones for a long time now. Like your
Yeah.
phone is your organizer, it's your calculator, it's your way to book a table at a restaurant or a cinema ticket. It's how you figure out how to get from one place to another. It's how you book a cab. It's
Hmm.
how you could even book plane tickets. You know, it's you could do so much with your phone now, outside of just making calls. Like I remember when mobile phones started to become popular. This is maybe about mid-ish 90s or so, give or take, when mobile phones starts to become a bit more popular. Before that, only like super rich people had them, you know.
Mm.
Then so more regular folks started getting them, and yeah, it was just calls. That's all you could do with it. You could make calls, and it was bloody expensive, you know. And then text came in, and that was like the cool thing. And then the WAP came in, yeah. Before Cardi B, we had wireless application protocol came in, and that was like the first sort of mobile internet.
Mm.
So yeah, there's so much. I mean, a lot of improvements have been happening over the years with mobile phones, to the point where what we call a phone now is a tool. Really, it's
Yeah.
so much more than just a phone. So yeah, I feel like it's just part of it is technology advancements, and the fact that you can do so much more with this small device now. And although when you say things like we're glued to our phones, it sounds bad, but I'm not sure that it is, because it kind of depends on what you're doing. You could be writing your next novel on your phone. You could be
Hmm.
um messaging people to arrange podcast meetings with your phone. So I think it kind of depends on what you're doing. I pretty much have my phone with me next to all the time now. It's just almost like a part of who I am. Like you don't leave your house without your keys. You don't leave your house without your phone. And that there
Yeah.
might be a point where you don't even need your keys, because maybe your phone has some kind of lock key thing,
No,
on
they
it, that
do.
you could just use
They
to open
already
your
have
door.
that.
So
Yeah.
oh, that already exists. Okay, I might need to get one
Yeah.
of those then. you know. In fact, you don't even really need to take your wallet with you, because you got like if you got like, what's it, Google Pay or Apple Pay or that sort of thing
Yeah.
on your phone. So it's become such a massive part of modern life, just because there's so many things you can do with your phone. And yeah, so yes, it's true that we are glued to our phones, but I don't know if that in and of itself is a bad thing. Maybe depends
Yeah.
on on the individual.
Yeah. Of course. Of course. I feel like you know it's a good and bad thing. So
Mm.
like part of what I said, and then of course part of what you said, it blends together for the average person. You can't even say that, because it really differs on how it's used. Pretty much exactly how you said. It depends on the person itself using it. For me, it's just whenever I do sit down and I think about it, it's a little overwhelming. And maybe I'm thinking a
Yeah,
little too much on it. It's a little overwhelming to think about the difference. Uh, that, like you said, I'm more concerned about grabbing my phone before I leave, before I think about grabbing. And the only thing that I think about more than leaving the house and grabbing something before I leave is my keys, my house keys. It's my house keys and my phone.
Mm-hmm.
There are times, and now mask, that's sort
Okay.
of like a third thing.
Well, you guys still have a mask mandate in New York, or is it optional or something?
It's optional in most places, but if you're in like an Uber or something, you do have to wear a mask
All right.
still.
Okay. Okay.
Some Uber drivers, they're cool with it, but nobody wants to take that risk again, that one star.
Sure.
Not
Yeah. Yeah, we don't
me.
have the mandate anymore. Like they that ended, I think, a month or two ago. I think, or maybe a little while ago. Anyway, we ended the mandate. So it's encouraged, but yeah, it's not required. So before you could possibly be asked to leave, supermarket, for example, if you didn't have a mask.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, you can't be, just because it's not legally enforced. So if you don't want to wear a mask, you don't have to wear a mask. If you do, you do. And some people do, some people don't. As you go around, you'll see. I think probably most people, I think, don't. If at empirical, just looking around at what seems to me, most people probably don't. But yeah, you do still see some people who still prefer to wear a mask, and in cabs and stuff like that. You still see some people get in and have their mask on, and yeah.
Yeah, for us,
Mm.
still in the app will still ask you to wear a mask. I do see, like, whenever, for example, just yesterday, I had somebody from Con Edison come, my electric company, come and read my meter, and that guy was told to wear a mask.
Mhm.
So yeah, I feel like there's for the most part you don't have to wear a mask, but
Mm.
there are some, you still have to keep one on you just in case
Yeah,
you
yeah.
run into a situation where you have to put it on.
Okay, I see what you mean. Just that, just yeah, have it in your back pocket just in case.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Keep one in my car. Just keep one in my car. Just have it there, and yeah, just if it's needed. All right, cool. Let me put it real quick. I don't like
Yeah.
those ones that hook behind your ears though, because they hurt my ears. Like you put them on and it just pulls. I don't know. I probably just got a larger head than most people, to be honest with you. But
Now I do know what you're talking
that
about.
it just hurts my ears. So what I tend to do is I tear it off on the end and then tie it, so it just goes around the
Mhm.
back of my head and just hangs down. So it's more like one of those, like those, I don't know what they call, but those where you watch those movies where they got like a
Bandit.
belly dancer or something, and they've got
Oh.
the like the sachet thing over their mouth. Oh, like Melina, you like Melina from Mortal Kombat?
I know
What she,
exactly what you're
yeah, that
talking
is
about.
it's more like that. Just kind of hangs down from my mouth and nose. It's like I don't belly dance stuff, but I don't know. Maybe I should start. Maybe I should start. Look into that next time. Man's gonna be belly dancing. Get some lessons in.
For me, I just put like some Vaseline on the back of my ears, and
Okay.
to make it a little less, because when I was at my previous job, I was
Mm.
there for hours with a mask on. I'm talking about like 8 hours.
Oof.
And
Yeah.
shit, more than that actually, because you'll have to get on the bus, and this is still when the mandate was still in effect. You'll have to get on the bus, get on the train. So I would say about 10 hours with a mask on.
Oof. Yeah. That's
Um,
definitely gonna hurt.
yeah, so I started putting Vaseline or lotion on the back of my ears, and I'm not gonna lie, it helped. It really helped. And
Okay.
I'm one of those people that I do like wearing a mask.
Okay.
That's just you know.
Well, I mean, I guess that shouldn't be surprised. I mean,
Exactly.
no video, so for a reason. So I guess that's yeah. All right, before we get too off topic, then
Mhm.
so that yeah, so we're still talking about cloud gaming, and some of the cons of cloud gaming. So one of the cons that I wrote down is about smaller screen. So this is more specific to, like, if you're playing on your phone. Um, and I guess down to like a lot of games being designed for, not necessarily
Big
like a
screen.
massive screen, but if you're typically designing games for at least, say, a 12-inch screen or 20-inch monitor or something like that.
Mhm.
So the texts are written in a way or sized in a way so they'd be fine on a say a regular TV size screen, but when you're playing on your phone, some of the text just seems really really small, or some of the items are really difficult to see. Or some of the in-game items are very difficult to see because, like, it's smaller and it's everything's kind of compressed down. So again, that's I guess an issue now. Maybe not an issue in, I don't know, 5 years if they start thinking about people using these services more and playing on mobile phones more. Um, but yeah, I feel like it's definitely a con for the time being, and with certain games, not all games I find, but certain games that like what was it, Blood Roots I was playing a little while ago, where some of the weapons that you pick up, they're so small on your screen. And by the way, my mobile phone screen is not massive, but it's pretty. It's not a tiny phone either. So
Mm.
even then, it's like it's still difficult to see certain things. So that's an issue with that. Um, and what else did I write down real quick? Yeah, I guess this is one that I've seen a lot of people say. It doesn't really apply for myself, and I think probably most people either. But one of the biggest pushbacks I've seen people say to cloud gaming is the fact that it hurts like things like physical gaming and collecting. Do you collect games at all? By the way, is that something you do or ever done?
Yeah, I used to collect them physically when I had a PS2.
Mm.
Um, but I moved on to digital games because, like, what happened was I had somebody that actually stole my games.
Oof, yeah.
So after that, I was like, well, once digital games came into effect, I was like, hell yeah. Because how the hell are you going to steal my digital game?
Mm.
Now, the disadvantage of
Hack
that
into
is,
Sony.
but the disadvantage of that is there are some games that went unlisted, meaning you can't download them again. So if you
Mm.
ever removed it from your console, that's it.
Mm.
I think Scott Pilgrim, the first edition, was one of those games that got delisted. So, or even like the Sonic games, they're delisting those games now. So you have to download them if you already own them, or buy them if you already own them. The GTA trilogy, well, yeah, trilogy. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Like GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas, the
Yeah.
originals, they're no longer available. So if you don't own them, that's it.
Mm.
Um, or if you do own them, you can't download them again if it's not already downloaded. That's one of the disadvantages of digital games. So it's unfortunate. And plus, now with, if a game becomes rare, then the prices goes up on it.
Mm.
So um, if some local game places, or because GameStop is not going to have San Andreas, not, they're going to have the definitive edition, but they're not going to have the original on an average basis.
Mm.
So when you go to a place like a local game shop, they're going to have it most likely, but it's going to be higher. It's going to be a higher price. Shit, you might be paying, a 10 extra dollars at least.
Mm.
That's what they already did to other rare games back in the day, especially GameStop. GameStop, I remember they had a game, Dragon Ball Z Final Bout, which was very rare in America, and they charged me like $100 for that game. Uh, yeah.
And
That game
wow.
was like, really old and not at all worth the price unless you're like a big Dragon Ball Z fan. But that's that's
Mm.
a different conversation. Anyway, that's one of the disadvantages of having digital games.
Yeah, and that's certain of, and yeah, we remember we did talk a little about that the last time we spoke as well. The fact that you're pretty much at the mercy of the provider when it comes to the sort of streaming or the download only games. In that, if like for example Stadia, you can buy a game on Stadia and you can play it, and that's cool. But let's say Stadia closes down or decides to remove that game from there. I mean, they're probably not going to close down. So let's say there was not anytime soon anyway. But let's say they decide to remove that game from their service. Do you still have access to that game because you bought it? What happens then?
Mhm.
Also, things like what happens if the game gets updated and you want to play the original version of that game? That there's no access to that. It's just you just have the updated version, which might be fine. It might be a minor update. It might not be something that makes the game any better or any worse. But for whatever reason, you might want to play that original version of the game. You
Mhm.
can't do that anymore. It's all taken away. Um, but yeah, speaking of closing down, I mean, although it might be unlikely that Stadia closes down, I mean, it's owned by Google, and so I can imagine it's probably be around for a good while to come. But let's say that does happen. What happens to the games that you buy? Like I tried to find out, and I couldn't find any kind of definitive answers to what happens to your games that you bought. It's like, do you get to download them? Do you, um, or does it move to some other server? Or what happens? It just seems to be like a question that, I mean, maybe it's answered somewhere and I just couldn't find it. But from what when I was looking, it just seemed like there's no real clear answers to what happens. I know with Steam, for example, they've said before, or I say I know, I believe they've said this before, where if they ever close down, you'd have the option to download everything that you ever bought, right, before everything goes offline.
Mhm.
Cool, right? Be a lot of
Yeah.
stuff to download in, but cool, it's there. Is Stadia doing the same thing? I don't know. So that I feel like that's another potential issue, especially if you're asking people to buy games. Which Stadia does. It asks people to buy games, and you pay quite a lot unless you can get a discount. They're quite expensive to buy on Stadia, like full price pretty much. Even games that came out last year, 2 years ago, they're still charging £50, £60 for these games. And if you're paying that amount of money, and then for whatever reason Google decide, the Stadia thing ain't working no more, let's pull the plug on it. Where does that all go? What I mean, where's it? What happens? I feel like they should be clear as to what happens should they ever close it down.
Yeah. You know, I feel like when gaming companies are quiet about that, let's say with PlayStation and Microsoft, or PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo, we don't really have to worry too much about that.
Mm.
But Stadia is definitely one of those companies where they do have to worry about it because, to be honest, I think I'm going to be very honest with you. You're the only person I hear talking about Stadia. Like the only person. The
Wow.
last time I heard about Stadia before you was with that controversy that I spoke about last time with I think the director or some he was the director or something in that company. And he made that comment that no games should be streamed on Twitch or YouTube or anything like that.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so after that, I didn't hear anything about Stadia. And even before then, I wasn't really hearing people talk too much about Stadia. So I feel like it's hanging on just because of Google, but eventually it will fall off. So it is definitely a concern. Like, um, for example, going back to digital games and digital add-ons. I don't know if you're familiar with Rock Band.
Yeah. Yeah.
Basically, it's like
Yeah.
Guitar Hero. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they have songs that you can buy. Rock Band specifically had this section called Rock Band Network, and artists like local artists could go ahead and upload songs to there, and it could get approved, and then you could actually purchase that, and the
All
artist
right.
will
That's
get
really
paid
cool.
for it or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, they shut that down, unfortunately, and if I don't have, I'm not entirely sure if it's downloaded to my original, but if it my Xbox 360, I mean. But if it's not downloaded there, then those songs that I purchased, I paid money for, I
Mm.
no longer have access to. I cannot get it at all. I can't even send them an angry email and say, "Well, I paid this money. You should pay." They're not going to do
Mm.
it. I can't take them to court over it because they already gave warnings. Hey, download this before it goes, or hey, we're going to shut down soon. Blah blah blah. That's it. And I think that sucks. But what can you do? And that's
Mm.
the disadvantage of this whole digital thing. With Stadia, I could only imagine if somebody was unaware, because it happens. It's not like everybody stays in the loop of things.
Yeah.
It happens, and if somebody was really supporting that gaming company, they put they purchase these games that are average $60 to $65, uh, and that's tax included. And now with the next generation trying to jump up the price to $70,
Mm,
it's like I don't want to pay all that money and then you're telling me I can't play any of these games now. Then I'm going to really try to take you to court.
mm,
And unfortunately, the average person will lose in that situation.
yeah,
So it's something they should really think about. Um, something they should really communicate with because they I feel like not considering that they will have to shut down someday is, foolish because
yeah,
Stadia is not up to that point where like they're really in when you see the average game commercial, you don't really hear, they'll say PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, but you don't really see them talking about Stadia too.
mm,
you
yeah.
know?
No, it's true. I
So
mean, and they've been around a while as well. They're not even new, so
yeah,
it's not like they just started. They've been around at least
for
a
a
few
long
years.
time.
At least a good few years now. So
I say
yeah,
several.
and I mean, my guess is that Google. I'm sure they got a bunch of smart lawyers working for them, so I'm sure it's buried somewhere in the terms and conditions about what happens. But the average person who doesn't understand legal whatever, and
Yeah.
let's say who's reading terms and conditions. So you know what I mean. Even if you're trying to look for it in there, you probably won't understand it anyway. So I
hmm
thought certain things. I mean, look, I get it. We're supposed to read the terms and conditions. I ain't saying that. I you're supposed to. I know, but I do feel like with certain things, they should just be a bit clearer because they know people don't read terms and conditions. They know the vast majority of people do not sit there reading terms and conditions. So certainly things like what happens should you close down, that should be clear. That should be something pretty easy to find. Everything else you can bury in your legal whatever, but certain things need to be clear from the jump. Should we ever close down or shut down, this is what happens.
Yeah.
Like I would say that I know like that's been when sort of movies, started to become streaming and you could buy movies to stream online as sort of video on demand. When that started happening, I remember like there was a lot of sort of talk about people not wanting to do it because should a company close down, you're just going to lose all your movies, right?
hmm
And I did remember reading an article that said something that was quite interesting, and I think it kind of applies to this as well to an extent. Is that even back in like the DVD days and the VHS days and whatever, there was always that possibility you can lose access to the things that you buy. You know, so it's just kind of how it's always been. I guess the difference between the physical media and the digital media is that it's a bit more prevalent that you can lose access to the things that you buy. Whereas if you bought something on VHS back in the 80s,
Yeah.
you might still have that VHS player, VHS tape, but maybe a VHS player doesn't work anymore. And they have to go looking for a VHS player, which you can still get them, but not so easily. You might have to go dig around on eBay or something like that to find one. Something like that. And then finding the right cables to use with it as well. So it's not impossible, sure, but it's going to be a big hassle trying to watch a movie on VHS at this point, unless you still manage to maintain all the right equipment. So there's always that possibility you lose access to watching a VHS tape. And when DVDs came around and bought stuff in DVDs, there's a possibility you lose access to watching stuff that you bought on DVD and Blu-ray. The same thing. It's always possible that you can lose access at some point to the things that you buy. It's just much more obvious when it comes to digital media. Especially when some of these companies are quite new, you don't know how many people are gonna start buying into it and what could happen in the future. It's like how much you really want to spend on a movie that you probably bought 20 times already at this point, just for that
Yeah.
company to shut down next week. So yeah.
And it happens.
Mm. Um
I just got breaking news. I don't know if you know Ray Liotta.
wait, oh yeah, the actor, yeah.
Yeah, he passed away. I just found
Oh,
out.
oh man,
Jesus.
really? So
Yeah, in
rest in peace, really. So.
Dominican Republic, he was shooting a film called Dangerous Waters, and he had passed away in his sleep. Wow.
Oh man. Yeah, I remember Ray Liotta. He was a good fella, Goodfellas.
Yeah.
Uh He was in a film called Blow with Johnny Depp. Played his dad. Um, Loads of movies that he did, and he often played
Yeah,
like
he
these
was a
really
legend.
intense characters.
Hmm.
Um, Man, that's sad news. Rest in peace, Ray Liotta.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
He was in he did some comedy stuff. I mean, the most recent that I saw him in was what was it? It was the movie for The Sopranos when they showed Tony Soprano growing up. What is it called? Many Saints of Newark. Newark.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh Man. I'm sorry to derail.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey,
I'm sorry, but
it's not, it's
yeah.
not, it's not live, but it's recorded with no edits. It's just, it happens. So, I appreciate you letting me know that though. Still, but yeah, Ray
That's
Liotta, man,
insane.
he's yeah, definitely a legendary actor.
Yeah.
Mm. Man, I guess
It's because it's somebody that was like um so iconic, at least from my childhood,
mm,
growing up. Because I remember, I can't tell you how many times I've watched Goodfellas, you know.
mm. one
So to see
day,
some, just out
one
of
day, a couple
nowhere.
of kids from the neighborhood carrying my mother's groceries all the way home. You know why? It was out of respect. Man, that's a classic movie.
Hell yeah.
Mm. Based on a true
Uh,
story. That one actually.
yeah, yeah,
Mm.
loosely. 'Cause,
Uh,
that's up for debate. Only because like some people are saying that the guy was full of shit sometimes, but
well, I mean, I guess to be fair, if you're with the mob, I mean, I believe the guy was supposed to be in witness protection, but even
yeah,
still, I'm sure there's like, I mean, look, if you could find a film director, gangsters can find you. Do you know what I mean? So I'm sure
yeah.
he's not going to tell the whole truth in case somebody comes after him. So yeah, that wouldn't
I mean,
surprise me if
besides
it's
that, like if a director came to me and said, "Hey, I want to tell your life story," I'm gonna say, "Yeah, it changed that a little bit. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
change that too."
just be a little creative with the truth. Yeah. Yeah, I was banging bad girls, man. You should see me. Had titties on this
Yeah.
side, titties on that side. Listen, if they ever want to make a move in my life, I'll just lie throughout the whole thing. It'd
Yeah.
be like watching a Fast and Furious movie. I'd be like, yeah, that was my life, man.
Yeah,
um,
sad news.
Indeed. All right. So with that awkward segue, so yeah, we just talked a little bit about
Yeah, I'm sorry.
that's all right, that's all right. We just talked about Stadia. So yeah, speaking of platforms, PlayStation have, or they're about to. Oh, well, maybe it's happened already. Actually, let me just double check real quick. But yeah, they've announced that they're gonna revamp the whole PlayStation Plus, PlayStation Now service, and I believe that's launching soon if it hasn't launched already. Um, but yeah, that's to include cloud
Yeah,
gaming
so
as
far it's
well.
available in
Um,
Malaysia.
um, well, what's your thoughts on that? So they got like was it essential, extra, and premium, and I think the premium is the level um uh with the cloud gaming on it. Um, but yeah, so what's your sort of initial thoughts on that as a service and what they're offering? Do you think it's worthwhile? And to be fair, we don't know a lot about which games are available right now. But I think they have announced a few so far.
I don't really like the way they're doing it. Of course, it's for money. Almost everything is for money, but I feel like it's a little overpriced.
Mm,
It's a little misleading in a way, as far as like they're offering, if I'm not mistaken, PlayStation 2 or PlayStation 3 games, or maybe both, if you get the highest tier, which is PlayStation Plus Premium.
yeah.
But for PlayStation Plus Essential, it's like what is it again? If I'm not mistaken,
I got it here.
I
So
think it's exclusive,
it's
yeah, discounts and
discounts,
cloud
cloud
storage
storage.
online.
Yeah.
But and what else? A catalog of some games for PS. 5 and PS4.
Hmm.
That's cool and all, but for the price that they're asking, it's a little too damn high,
It's at
in
$10
my
a
opinion.
month for you guys and £7 a month for us. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
well,
I mean,
you know,
I think the regular service is about the same, or maybe a little bit cheaper. I think I'm not really sure what they're charging for PlayStation right now, but is it?
so for regular is like $10, right? If you're
Yeah.
doing monthly. Me, I do like every 3 months. So mine's is about like $25.
Okay.
Now, if you got PlayStation Plus extra, um, that would be $15 a month and then $40 every 3 months. So they tack on a little bit much. Now, to some people, that extra, like, from $10 to $15, it doesn't
Mm.
seem like much, but let me tell you, that shit adds up.
Yeah.
And you know, I say it comes down to what they offer, the
Yeah.
games that they offer. Is it worth it? For a PlayStation fan, yeah, I say go ahead and grab it. You might enjoy it. You could try it out. I will hope that they offer something like Microsoft did with the Xbox, where they said, "Hey, you could go ahead and upgrade to this version just for $1. You get the Game Pass with your gold subscription just for $1." Like right now, for me, I'm
Mm.
paying about $16 just for the Game Pass and gold together, and that's not too much. Especially with everything that I have access to, the list of games that Game Pass has.
Mm.
I do have faith in PlayStation that they will provide games that are good, but I hope that their their selection is really wide, that they're not limiting themselves or holding back. They need to let loose, get all the games that they can on there. Um, and also, the older the games are, the more uh the more people they'll drag in, because
Yeah.
nostalgia is a bitch.
Yeah. Definitely,
Nostalgia
especially them
is a
old PS1,
bitch.
PS2 games,
Yeah.
some of the PS3 games as well. Definitely.
Yeah. So if I saw
In fact, no,
PS2
the
games like
PS. Oh wait. Oh no, they have got PS3 games, but only through. No, wait. I'm just going to read it now. Yeah, they got PS3 games. There they do. They do. It's just the way they've written it, but they do have PS3 games available. Cool, cool.
mhm. Like if they had some old games, like if they were able to put PS2 games, I don't see why they wouldn't be able to. It's digital. It's not like we're messing with hardware at that point. Um, if they had some old PS2 games, like hell, I could play Parappa the Rapper Part 2. Okay. So I don't see why PlayStation 2 games wouldn't be on there if it's not. Um, but that would bring me in. Like I would tell you right now, if they had PlayStation 2 games available, I would buy it, because like there are some PlayStation 2 games. Hell, I don't even have a PlayStation 2 anymore,
Mm,
unfortunately. But there are some PlayStation 2 games that I never got to finish,
yeah,
like Scarface. I know that's not a PlayStation. I'm not naming exclusives, by the
yeah,
way,
but
but
just games. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, I never got to finish Scarface. Um, I don't remember if I finished this game called Oni, and there are probably a bunch of games just off the top of my head. I mean, not off the top of my head, that I'm just not remembering right now. But bank on nostalgia, and then of course you have the normal stuff like Persona games or whatever, like Persona 5 Royal. If you put that on there, yeah, don't be afraid to put big name games on there, especially even if they you can still buy them or whatever. That's what Xbox is doing. They're having games on their Game Pass that are still like relevant to where people are still buying the game, but the Game Pass, having it available on the Game Pass, is more alluring, because now here's a game that I could buy for $60 to $65. But if I get the Game Pass, I can still play that game. I can still download that game. I won't own it, but I'll have it for as long as it's on the Game Pass. I get to play it, beat it,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
And games on the Game Pass, they last a while. It's not like they just get rid of them in a month.
yeah.
So as
You
long
got
as
your time with them.
PlayStation, yeah, PlayStation has to focus on nostalgia. the quality of the games or selection of the games, I should say, and also how long they're available to be played. And I feel like they'll go ahead and be just as competitive with this with Game Pass.
Yeah, and I think so. I mean, my kind of thoughts on what I've read of it is, I mean, I like the look of the premium option, which if you go for the year for the UK folk is 99. Where's it gone now? £99 for the year, or in America, $120. Which I feel is pretty reasonable for what they're offering. That being said, a few things that could potentially be deal breakers for me. One is that it doesn't seem like with the cloud streaming you can't play on the phone. Like you could, I know you could play on the PC, you could play on a console, fine, but on your phone you can't stream to your phone by the looks of it. It's that option is not there, and that's kind of a big deal for me because I like to be, even though I might only have 10 minutes and not maybe be able to do much, I still like the options to be able to play on my phone when I can.
Mhm.
The other thing that it seems is that the PS5 games are not available for cloud gaming. Now, like I said before, I'm fully on board with the cloud gaming, so I want to do that as much as possible. And if the PS5 games aren't on cloud gaming, that means I'm going to have to buy a PS5 to really get the most out of it. So I
Yeah.
can download the PS5 games and play them, natively on a console. So, I mean, I say deal breakers. I probably use that term a bit loosely. It's more like how much do I want? I'd rather put it this way: I'd rather not buy another console at this point. I'd really rather not buy another console. I'd really rather be able to just stream the games that I want to play to my PC, to my phone, and that's it. That's what I'd much rather do. The idea of buying another console now, and especially a console that you can't even get to easily, it's still pretty scarce stock. And I suppose I won't have to buy the disc version. I could probably buy the cheaper version, to be fair. But even still, it's money that I don't really want to be spending. But then if I don't do it, I'll effectively pay for the service and not get as much out of it as I could. Because then I'm paying £99 for the year, and I'll just be streaming PlayStation games, PS2 games, PSP, PS3, and PS4 games.
Mhm.
Which, still a decent amount of games, to be fair, but I have to be at home to do it. And it's pretty much all old games. So is that still worth now the £99 for me? It's a good deal, don't get me wrong. Like value wise, I mean monetary wise, it's not a rip off. But I always feel like how much something costs and how much something is worth is always is somewhat subjective because value is personal. You know what I mean? To say that something costs £99 and that's a good price for it, fine. But is it worth £99 to me? You know what I mean? And if there's these things missing, which I put quite a lot of stock in, that to be able to play on my phone, to be able to not have to buy another console, it's a pretty big deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, is it still worth that £99 if I now have to buy a PlayStation 5 just so I can play those games and I can't be outside my house when I'm playing it? I have to be at home, which means I have to find time to play it, and that gets more and more difficult anyway, just as life goes on and your different priorities and whatever. So, is it still worth the money? And that's what I'm kind of like, you know what I mean? This,
Yeah.
But aside from that, I do feel for most people, and of course, depending on your own personal finances, I personally feel like for most people, the top option is a pretty good deal. And but again, it's also going to depend on specifically which games are available. And I know they did announce a few games, but there's still a whole bunch of other games that we don't know about. So yeah, kind of a wait and see, really.
Yeah, I really don't see anybody really getting the premium version unless like, it's kids and their parents can afford it,
Mm.
or for big time streamers and also game fanatics or PlayStation fanatics, I should say. That's the only people I see getting premium. But I don't think that it's not going to do well. I think there's still going to be quite a lot of people getting that tier. But for me personally, I wouldn't get that tier. That's crazy. That's insane. That's a
Hmm.
lot of money.
The
Yeah, they give you
$120.
a
Yeah,
yeah, like that's the highest tier.
yeah.
It costs way too much money. Like hell no.
In
I'd rather just get the game that I want.
in America, the premium, sorry, the Xbox Ultimate. Is that $15? Is that right?
Uh, I don't know what it is by itself, but for me, I do remember getting some kind of deal. I don't know if it's still in effect because I did lose my subscription and then renewed it. But for now, I pay with the Xbox Gold and Ultimate together, just about 16 and some change.
Okay.
$16 and some change,
All
which
right.
is I tell you is a good price for everything
All
that
right.
I can do.
See. All right. So over the year, you're paying about $192, give or take.
Hmm.
Um, so the $120, but then I guess the big difference is though, for that $190, you are getting access to a lot of big hitter games, like big heavy hitter games day one with
Yeah,
Xbox. Um,
and
from
I mean,
first
think
party
about
and
it
even
this
some
way:
third party.
if I was buying games individually, it would be way more.
Yeah.
60, just two games would be 120, and it's going to be even more than that if you include tax.
Mm,
And even if we were talking about, okay, well, get a game that's like what, 40, $20, that's going to stack up too.
mm. Oh, definitely, and I think that's another thing that comes up when talking about the sort of streaming and Game Pass in particular is that you know versus buying a game. Let's say you buy, I don't know, let's say 3 games a year, 4 games a year. You're probably just about getting your money's worth in terms of what you would have spent throughout the year. Of course, however, you cancel your subscription, you can't play those games anymore. But if you bought those games, you could play for as long as you want to, or potentially for as long as you want to.
Hmm.
Um, and I think that's kind of a sticking point for a lot of people. They feel like you don't want to have to keep paying a subscription just to have access to the games where you can just walk by them. And for me, I kind of feel like you always pay for access anyway. Even when you buy a game, effectively you're paying for access because if I buy a game for full price, I could play that game as many times as I want to. In most cases, I'm only going to play it once, maybe twice. Right? I know that about myself. Other people are different. I know some people pick one game and only ever play that. I don't do that. I like to play different games. I like to dibble and dabble. So for someone like myself, the cloud gaming or the subscription services really totally worthwhile because I end up spending less and I get to try a lot more than I would. Um,
Hmm.
but for somebody who is going to buy those games, I think the real question is how much are you actually playing those games? Because yes, you can play it a million times for as many years as for the next 10 years if you want to, but are you actually doing that? Because I know a lot of people. Well, I say a lot. I don't know that many people. I ain't got too many friends. I ain't that popular. But no, for a lot of people I know who play games are in that same sort of thing where you play a game and for the most part you kind of just play it once. Maybe you might play it again, 6, 7 months down the line, or maybe next year. But you're generally not playing a game multiple times over and over again. Like back when I was a kid, sure, because all you had was that one game and time. you know, yeah, so you can play that same game over and over and over again and
Hmm.
easily get way more than your money's worth from that. But now, maybe for the young people of today, sure, it makes more sense to buy the game because you've got that time to keep playing it over and over again and just get as good as you can at it and learn all the secrets and this, that, and the other. But I feel like for people like myself who may be a bit more casual with games, buying a game versus effectively renting a game on a through subscription service, the subscription service is a lot more appealing to me because I know that I'm not going to play a game 17 times in a row and do all the different modes and I'm gonna play it once, maybe play a bit of the multiplayer, and then I'm probably not gonna bother it for at least another year. So if even ever, you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I
it's
mean,
kind of
from my
that the whole
experience,
value thing.
yeah, from my experience, I've seen people just stick to Game Pass because it's more convenient, it's
Mm,
faster, and there's always going to be a new selection. And for any games that are taken off the Game Pass, we either just leave it alone or we go and buy it if we really really like it.
mm.
So that's what I've seen so far. like with everybody that I've been on Xbox with, like anybody that owns the Game Pass, and there's like almost everybody owns the Game Pass that I have on my friends list at least.
Hmm. But yeah, I kind of feel like even for people who do play a game multiple times, Game Pass or services like Game Pass can still potentially be a good option. Um, of course, it depends though on the game, and because a lot of games, for example, like might have a subscription within themselves. Um, and if you have Game Pass, it possibly could work out cheaper that way if you're subscribing to something anyway. But it could depend. I mean, if you literally the type of guy he picks one game and never plays anything else, then sure, buy that one game and that's it. You're good to go. But I
Hmm.
think if you do like to at least try other stuff, even if you don't always complete them, the fact that you can try something else, play it for a bit, see if you like it, maybe complete it, maybe not. It didn't cost you anything extra, well, apart from time, of course. But there's no real or no major harm done in trying out something that you might not have given a second look to if you had to actually spend another 20 quid or another 30 quid or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Mm.
I Again, like for me, what I really enjoy about the whole subscription thing is that, I mean, flat out, there's just way more games that you're gonna have access to, way more games that you would have never thought
Mm.
to try, because it's more of an advantage to actually play the damn game instead of a demo. A
Yeah.
demo,
Yeah.
it could be cool and all that, but a demo is always different from the game most of the time. Most of the time, I should say. But to actually play the game, yeah, I feel like subscriptions are also like an advantage for the gaming companies too.
Oh yeah,
Um,
definitely. Oh, for real, for real. Just digital games in general are massively um big advantages to like the game devs because like you can't lend them to anybody. You can't
yeah,
sell them on. So yeah, everybody has to potentially buy their own copy. It's not like back in the day where you can buy one copy and lend it to all your friends. Now you can't do it no more. They all got to buy their own. So yeah, definitely it's advantages to the games company for sure.
yeah. Eh, I don't see any gaming company that wouldn't like, it doesn't make sense for them not to let their games be accessible through
Hmm.
a subscription. Because you're getting your game exposed. And it's the same concept of, like, at least in my opinion, same concept of letting your game be streamed on a damn platform like Twitch or YouTube. You're
Mm,
getting
yeah,
people to see your game. Your game,
yeah,
that's free advertisement.
yeah,
So if you have faith in your product, let it be out there. You're not giving it away for free.
yeah.
You're still making money off of it. And now you're making more money off of it than you would otherwise because, again, people are going to try it out. If somebody, for example, if I am playing, I'm playing my own games or whatever, and then somebody comes to me and says, "Hey, did you have Game Pass?" I'm like, "Yeah." Like, "Did you play this game yet? Because it's pretty damn good." There you go. I download that game, I try it out, I end up liking it, I tell somebody else the same thing. That's the same way it works on streaming platforms. I see a game, I'm like, damn, this looks good. I never would have thought about this. Actually, I never even heard about this game. Now
Mm,
I go and buy it.
mm. Yeah, no,
So,
certainly. I think there's a lot to be said about the way the world has sort of shifted in terms of things like Twitch and YouTube and how
mhm,
content creators have become a major part of how people find out about games, and there definitely has been. I mean, it's probably a bit better now, but for the most part, it's probably a bit better now. But certainly, there was a while where quite a few game developers were a bit slow to adapt, and you'd see people do things like DMCA takedowns of Let's Play
yeah,
videos, and
especially
that whole thing
Nintendo.
was rampant. And yeah, that was happening quite a lot back in the day, and now they've kind of calmed down a bit because they kind of realizing that actually you're either going to get two types of people watching it. Those who are never going to buy the game anyway, so whatever, right? And then those who might buy it because they've seen it being played. And that's maybe a few extra sales. Maybe it's not that you're maybe it's not like a £1 million bonus, but it's more than what you might have made, through say traditional means. So yeah, I think there's definitely needs to be. Well, I guess it's happening, but it's good that things are adapting more to how people consume games and how that's changed. And there was one case actually going a couple of years with a game called, I think, called Firewatch, where a lot of the YouTube guys were playing it, and they were playing pretty much the whole game, and the game's quite short. But the problem with this particular game, well, not the problem, and it's the game, it's how they made it. But in terms of people doing let's plays, now apparently, and I say apparently because I've not played the game myself, but apparently playing the game or watching the game is pretty much the same experience as playing the game. And because of that, if you'd watch somebody play the whole game, there wasn't really a whole lot of point in you buying the game. So the developers of that were a bit pissed at that time. For me, though, that just tells me it's not a game. And this might be a topic for another day as well, but I do feel like for it to be considered a game, needs to be certain things that it has. And one of those things is that you have to be able to interact with it. And if you can interact with it, that means my experience of playing it is not going to be the same as your experience of playing with it, because we're going to do different things. So the fact that you can watch a game and have pretty much the same experience as playing it, that's just a digital movie at that point. That's not a game. It's a movie that you press buttons on. But yeah, that's a little bit off topic, but yeah.
No, I feel like it actually adds more sales to those games, because a gamer like a streamer, well, not really a streamer, a YouTuber like Dashy Games. He
Hmm.
plays like a shit ton of Nintendo games, to the point where while they were still doing while Nintendo was still doing takedowns, he was like one of the exceptions. And
Okay.
he has like a very large fan base, and that fan base actually ended up buying those games. Like, he would do Mario Maker or play Mario Maker, and people would buy the game to just upload levels so he could actually play them on his stream.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, not
Yeah.
his stream, his YouTube.
Yeah.
uh there's been some gaming companies that will go ahead and reach out to these YouTubers or streamers and sponsor them to promote their game. I
Mm.
remember Far Cry 6 recently did this. They even had the actor, um, you know, pretty much do like a segment with one of the YouTubers. It was Corey Kenshin. And it wasn't like they were in the same room together, but it was still big. It was still
Mm.
this actor acknowledging a YouTuber, calling him by name and all that, just for a video, just to promote the game. And I'm quite sure, and Corey Kenshin has an extremely big fan base and loyal fan
Yeah. I
base
mean,
at that.
I know. I mean, I haven't watched much of stuff, but yeah, I know the guy. Well, I know of the guy, I should say. Yeah, he's pretty popular. Corey
Yes.
X Kenshin, I think is a. But yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm quite sure a lot of people purchased that game just because
Mm.
of that video. So, yeah, I feel like in the near future, we're going to see way more of that. We already see it, but mostly with mobile games,
Mm.
like the whole infamous Shadow Legends, or no, Shadow Raid or Raid. Damn, I
Mm.
don't know why I can't remember now. But either way, it's
Yeah.
good because no free promotion for them. Fuck
Screw 'em.
it. But yeah,
Um, but yeah, and I think just with that and sort of kind of related to cloud gaming, one of the benefits that cloud gaming would have is that it is very easy to kind of get into. So if you see somebody playing a game and you think, I want to get this game so that I can maybe upload a level, or I want to play this game because I think it looks really cool, or whatever it may be, you could quickly sign up to one of these sub services if you don't have it already, and you could be playing within 5 minutes. So
mhm,
so I feel like that combined with uh Twitch, YouTube, and how the different ways in which games are being promoted and consumed, if you come across a game like that, the especially when you know before, like you said, people were buying the games. If you had the option to just stream the game at a much lower price, you'd probably do that, right? you know. So that could then potentially mean that as much as many people would have, bought the game because they wanted to upload these, make these levels of film to play, upload these levels of film to play, how many people might have said, you know what, it's a bit much. I don't want to spend that much money just to make a level. That you may not even see it anyway. But then if you could really, say, okay, well, how about you just sign up to this sub service for, I don't know, £5 or whatever it is. You get access
Mhm.
to, or £10 or whatever they charge. You get access to all these games, including this one. You could upload a level. You've only spent a tenner. So you've done what you wanted to do. Maybe he plays the level, maybe he doesn't. You've only spent a tenner, and you get to play a whole bunch of other games as well in case you didn't like the one that you got it for. You know what I mean? So yeah, I feel like there is definitely a massive potential for cloud gaming and subscription services to be massively bigger than they are. And as much as we talked about the cons and some of the things, reasons why they might not necessarily be for everybody, which I appreciate. I do still feel like, yeah, in the next 5 to 10 years, as you know connections get better, as maybe prices get better, as more and more people kind of come on board with it, as maybe more and more people try it out and realize that some of the concerns they have might not be as bad as they thought, that sort of thing. In the next 5 to 10 years, I really do feel like cloud gaming could really become the dominant way in which people consume video games. And that could be pushed even further by things like streaming, Twitch and YouTube.
Yeah, I, I I gotta agree. I feel like again, um, as long as you make it more convenient for people,
Mm,
that's gonna be what the advantage is.
yeah.
Like with movies, for example, most people only go to the theaters if it's like way too inconvenient to watch it online somehow, or if it's like a big blockbuster, so
Mm,
you can have that experience. But for the most part, if somebody could be in the comfort of their own home, they're gonna watch the film there. Like, I don't want to go to a cold ass theater, pay $10 for a small drink, and sticky floors for some of us, all that, and then people talking. I had like when I went to go and see Doctor Strange 2, for example. I'm not gonna go too long on this, but it was a bad experience. Terrible experience. The lights were on for the first 20 minutes. I had some guy behind me doing this scratching noise, and I think he had like, he was one of those people that had like a tick maybe. So I didn't want to say anything to him just in case. I
mm,
didn't want to come off as the asshole. Nobody in the theater wants to be that first guy that's an asshole.
mm,
But he kept making this damn scratching noise occasionally, and then he started yawning, and it was just fucking infuriating. Uh, the theater was cold as hell. If I didn't say that already, it was just a bad experience. If I could have watched that at home, would have loved to watch that at home. The only good thing about being in the theater for that movie was the fact that the noise, like the surround sound, the vibration when you see an
mm.
IMAX and seeing it on a big screen. But it's getting to the point now you can do that shit at home if you have enough money.
You know what? There's truth to that. And yeah, depending on how your setup at home is, how close you can get to it. I would say though, and this is perhaps me coming at it as kind of a fan of the cinema and a fan of the theaters, but for me, I would always, well, not always, but most of the time, I would opt to go to the cinema. Like, given a choice, I would opt to watch a movie in the cinema, even though it is more expensive, even though it is less convenient than just sitting at home. I personally feel like for watching movies, and maybe this is because most of my cinema experience have been generally positive. I haven't been sitting in the cold theatre for the most part. There ain't too many people making noise. So that might be the difference between UK cinema goers and American cinema goers. Um, but yeah, I do feel like the cinema does have that, the big screen, the big sound, and there is kind of a whole kind of day out aspect to it when it comes to going to the cinema that you just can't replicate in your home, even if you do have a big TV and some cool speakers. Or I don't know, like maybe some people do. I guess some real rich people have like their literal home theaters they have, but I guess short of that, for me, it'd be yeah. I'd spend the extra money and go to the cinema to watch it. But yeah, cinemas, like you said, they're expensive. They can't be done all the time. They're
Mhm.
they're not always easy to get to, depending on where you might live. Um, you know, there's a cinema a few miles from me where you can park for 5 hours, which is great for most movies. But if they ever do like a really long movie, then I've got to figure about what time do I get there, how long the trailer's gonna be. You know, can I use the toilet before I have to run back out to my car? You know, that sort of thing. So there's always gonna be pros and cons to everything. So
Yeah, of course.
yeah, but I would say when I that one time I got a movie, one of those home movie ones. You know, when they do during the pandemic when they put that some of the movies on, like you could buy them on Amazon, or you pay like £15 because there were movies that were in the cinema at the same time they were streaming, right?
Mhm.
I got, was it Godzilla versus Kong, and I paid 15.99 to rent this movie. And I mean, the film itself is okay, I guess. I've kind of felt like it's the type of movie that you really should be watching in the cinema because it's made for that big speak, the big sound, big, all that sort of stuff. But then you're watching it in your home, and then you got somebody ringing your doorbell, people making noise in the background, and it's kind of like I paid 15.99 for this. I paid 15.99 for this crap. I'm watching this crappy movie. Well, it's not a crappy movie, but it's not a great movie. It's whatever mediocre movie. Got noise going around everywhere. I paid 15.99 for this. So yeah, pros and cons to everything.
Yeah. Man.
um, but yeah, so there was something that was on my mind a little bit actually. So oh yeah, sustainability. So yeah, one of the sort of things that comes up with cloud gaming again, so Xbox in particular, because I guess that's the biggest one right now,
Mhm.
is the sustainability of Xbox cloud gaming. In the UK, we pay 11.99 for the top Ultimate service, and I guess about $15-16 in America for the top service. Um, and I think it is fair to say that for what you're getting with that, that's a steal, right? Because you're getting access to the biggest games day one. A lot of the time. And granted, they're not coming out every single week, but they're certainly coming out frequent enough to warrant keeping on, paying us money. A lot of people feel like at some point the price is probably going to go up because as it is right now, it's just not a sustainable option. I mean, Microsoft are a massive company. We know they could throw money at this thing for a while to come, but eventually they're going to want to make their money back, right? Um, so, in terms of like sustainability, what do you think happens? Do you think we're going to see price increases for cloud gaming services? And if so, how much do you think is too much? Like, at what point is it like, nah, it's just not worth the money anymore?
I honestly don't think that they're losing money with this situation. They're getting way more people that don't even own an Xbox to purchase this.
Mm.
And not only that, because you could get Game Pass, but you will still need to get gold in order to play online with people, if I remember correctly, or rather if I'm correct.
Okay, that might be
So
different in America then, because the one in the UK includes online gaming. Like, if you get an ultimate
well,
service, it
yeah,
includes
the
gold
ultimate.
and online. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
But
wait, so you
there's
don't?
like
Oh wait, okay, I see what you mean. So yeah, you got one of the. Okay, gotcha. My bad, my bad. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, so like people that could go ahead and just purchase the Game Pass with their laptop
Yeah.
are doing that now. So I think they're gaining way more money than they would have otherwise. And that's the thing. Like Xbox at one point, they wanted to increase the prices of their gold and they received backlash immediately. And one thing that made me have more like I was already loyal to the company for a long time, but I was going to cancel my shit if you want to increase the prices. I left Netflix for that same reason.
Hmm.
But immediately once they got that backlash, they said, "Okay, fine, we'll keep it the same. Sorry." And I love that because you don't
Hmm.
need to get greedy. Uh,
Hmm.
Companies feel like they need to make money like as soon as possible, but you got to play for the long run. You're stacking up money. You get more money than just getting one big payout and that's it.
Mm.
strategize. And I feel like Microsoft is very strategic, and they've been making some good choices as of late. As before they were making some bad choices, some awkward choices, but I feel like now they're listening a little bit more to the people, to their communities, and it's really working out for them. And I feel like I really hope that a lot of other companies follow suit. Listen to your communities. Listen, give the people what they want as long as you can provide it, or at
Yeah.
least come to a compromise, and
Okay.
they'll be satisfied. But to do choices like they were making before when they were focusing more on television, this is around the Connect era. They were focusing way more on
Oh yeah, yeah. You can
television.
watch TV on the yeah, whatever.
Yeah, nobody cared about that. So it fell flat. And so they kind of just let that go. And that was smart. Let that go. Let it be in the past. This is a failure. Just move on, move forward. Don't try to keep dragging it on like, but hey, the connect, listen, the connect is dead. Personally, I still have mine. I can only hook it up to my 360 if I'm correct. And the only game that I'm willing to play on that is Dance Central, the Dance Central games, and that I think that was the only Connect game that actually worked, and it didn't even work fully well. So it was a failed product. Um, the point of me bringing that up is Microsoft has been showing that they've grown as a company from their past mistakes,
Mm,
um, and bad decisions in the past. And I want to see other companies do the same again,
mm,
like PlayStation, or rather Sony. They made some choices that are a little selfish, and they haven't paid for it yet because their fan base is so determined. Like, there's this whole feud between PlayStation and Xbox. They always, the gamers, they feel like they have to um, do that childish shit, like, oh, Xbox is better or PlayStation is
yeah, yeah,
better.
yeah. The fanboy stuff. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but it's just people just want to be on teams. That's all. But overall, I just want to. I got both. I just want whatever the hell I want from both companies. I
Mm.
want as much as I can get from PlayStation and as much as I can get from Xbox.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, for me, I feel like, I mean, without knowing the specifics of what exactly Microsoft is even spending, on Game Pass and how much they're making from Game Pass, like, I don't think we can truly say if they're making money or losing money. I would
Mhm.
say at a guess, at a just a general guess, my guess would be that at the moment they're probably not making a profit on the Game Pass section itself just yet. That would be my guess, especially considering the whole Bethesda thing they're doing, and that they're probably not. Um, that being said, I do think that that yeah that I wouldn't say that increase the prices would be a bad idea, but I think it could very much depend on one, when it's done and how it's done, and how much it goes up by, because ideally you'd want them to keep the prices as they are. In fact, ideally you want them to lower them, right? But barring that, you want to keep the prices as they are, and they just get enough people on board, subscribe to it on a monthly basis to the point where they can make way more money than they need to, right? And that's the kind of ideal scenario, that it just having the numbers of people is enough to pay each month to warrant to make it worthwhile and profitable. But let's say that doesn't happen, or that gets too difficult. At some point, they can have to increase the prices. Yeah, I feel like it can be done. Because honestly, I feel like there's a lot of people who are on Game Pass right now that feel like they've gotten a lot out of it. They wouldn't necessarily mind a price increase, but knowing that, it's like, okay, you can't just bump the prices up and expect everyone to be happy about it. Like, how much are you going to put it up by? And then again, how much? What exactly are you getting for that? Because it's all down to value, right? Just because it's a good deal doesn't mean it's worthwhile to you. So you can put the prices up by, let's say, put the price up by £1. Maybe people be okay, or a dollar. Maybe most people be, oh well, it's only $1, fine. But if you put the prices up by, say $5, $6, $7, something like that region, then it's kind of like, okay, what else am I getting for this? And if you're offering the exact same service as it is, I think, yeah, you probably will see a lot of people dropping off, because it might be like, I'm not sure I could keep doing this anymore. Now it's stretching my pockets a bit too much. It's a good service, there's a lot on it, but it's just too much of a stretch for me. Um,
Mhm.
but then if you could also do that while offering more to the point where that new price becomes a steal, then yeah, you still might get people dropping off just because they can't afford it. But you might have people actually taking it up because now there's something else you can get from it. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think if they ever do a price increase, it's just going to come down to how it's done, when it's done, and fundamentally how much they're increasing it by. But personally, I don't think I'd be too surprised if we do see a price increase. By the time Cloud Cave comes out of beta and they go fully live with it, you might see some reevaluation of their price structure at that point. And if we do, hopefully it's reasonable, not some
Mhm.
ridiculous change. Um, and maybe there's some few extra features as well, so the value proposition is also kind of maintains it also. So, but yeah, my personal feeling is that we probably would get an increase. I just hope that it's not a ridiculous increase.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either, but I would be disappointed. I don't want to. I don't feel like they need to change the prices. I feel like Microsoft, um, is definitely making a lot of money. That's why they were able to even
Mm,
purchase Bethesda for that amount. And if I'm not mistaken, I think I read somewhere that they're looking to buy um, another company sometime soon. So
oh, they're
if they
probably
could
trying to buy more
afford,
at some point.
yeah, so if they could
Microsoft's taking
afford
it
all
over.
of that,
Mm,
I feel like then they're able to just keep things the same. People don't really like change unless it's like, change that is an advantage for them. If it's
mm,
something that you're increasing prices, you're going to lose some people right off the bat. Even if it's just $1, you're going to lose some people
yeah,
right off the bat. And then if you increase it more than that, some more people are going to leave. Then you're going to have people going to be like, all right, well, I'm going to go to this game. I'm going to go to PlayStation now. And believe me, I know some people will say, "Oh, you ain't gonna do that. You ain't gonna do that." I've seen people do it.
yeah,
I've seen people do it. I've seen people take their damn console. They get so mad. They take their console, sell it to GameStop, and then buy a PlayStation. I've seen
mm,
it, and
yeah,
vice versa. People are, very intolerant of
mm,
shit like that. Like I'm one of those people. I will go ahead and cancel my subscription if I see, like I did with Netflix. People say, "Oh, you're not gonna get rid of Netflix." I'm going to, and I did. Because like there are other options. If there are no other options, then you'd be like, all right, you're not going to do that. If
mm,
it's like I got to go out of my way to do something else, I don't have to go out of my way.
yeah. It's
I could
there. It's
I
literally right at
if
your
I
computer.
cancel, yeah, I could cancel my subscription and still play the games. I could go ahead and play my PlayStation. I still got my old games. There's still games to play. So I don't necessarily need to go ahead and keep that. And as far as multiplayer goes, I got PlayStation for that. And
Mm,
other than that, shit, me personally, I'm not really too much into the multiplayer besides Overwatch. And even Overwatch, I haven't been playing consistently on that.
mm. Yeah, I think also with that as well when it comes to canceling the subscriptions. One of the things that we may see more of, assuming it doesn't even happen already. But it's certainly like the fact that Xbox is monthly, PlayStation has have their monthly option. You might see things like you might have Xbox Game Pass, Game Pass for 1 month or maybe 1 or 2 months, and then when PlayStation puts out a game that is more appealing to you, you might be like, let me cancel the Xbox and get the PlayStation for that month, and then just go back and forth with the services and just pay for one service each month depending on which games you want to play. Because from my understanding, I believe Xbox does this and Stadia does this as well, is that, and I'd have to somewhat assume PlayStation going to do it, even though I'm not sure if it's actually been announced yet. But if you cancel your service, your saves stay on their file. They stay on their cloud. So
Yeah.
you cancel it 2 3 months later, you come back, you just pick up where you left off with certain games, which with the game. So it's not like you just lose everything. It stays there. It's just you can't access it. Um, But yeah, when you're ready to come back, you come back, you start playing again. So I think that's something that you could see, especially if they do increase the prices, because they have to consider, just from a personal point of view, how much can you even spend each month? Maybe you think it's worth it, but you maybe can't do it every month. So it might be like you have Xbox one month, PlayStation another month, another thing, something another month. Um, there's other services like GeForce. Now we haven't even talked about that, but there's all these different services that you can use. At least,
Mhm.
well, a few different services that you can use for cloud gaming, or even just like not even just cloud gaming, but the download game options that they all have as well. The PlayStation, the Xbox ones. Pay for the one you want to play each month. When the new game comes out on Xbox, play that. Next month, new game out on PlayStation, go over there and play that. And cancel one, pick up the other, and just keep going back and forth as you need to. So yeah, that's definitely an option, and it's something that who knows, maybe I might do that if these prices get out of hand.
Yeah. I tell
Um,
you what, any price increase, I'm getting rid of my subscription. Uh, I'm loyal, but don't take advantage of me. Don't take any more money from me.
yeah,
Don't.
yeah, no piss takes. Um, but yeah, so speaking of other services though, like just mentioned GeForce Now. Do you know about GeForce Now?
Actually, I don't.
Okay.
I do know GeForce's because, like, even though I have a gaming laptop, I don't really play games on my laptop.
Mm, okay, fair enough. I mean,
So,
yeah,
I
I mean, GeForce Now, yes, by Nvidia. They've been around quite a while, I believe. Um, I joined up to it recently. And effectively, what it is that it's a streaming service, but doesn't quite work like other streaming services. So you have to already own the games, and then you're able to play it through their cloud. So, for example, if you own a game on Steam, um, as long as that game is also available on GeForce Now, which I think most of the big ones are, then yeah, you can play it through the cloud through GeForce Now. So GeForce Now don't charge you for the game. You buy the game from Steam, or you might buy the game from Ubisoft or GOG, or whichever or Epic as well, I think included. So whichever store you want to buy it from, you can buy it from there. You own the game, you connect your account to GeForce Now, and then you can stream the game through the cloud on GeForce Now. They have their own separate services. Like there's a free option where you're not prioritized as much, and then more paid options where you have more better priority and things like that. So it's a decent idea. I like the idea of it. Like I haven't tried it much. I would just try it a little bit because just to just test it out, and it does work pretty well. Um, but I think one of the things about it, and perhaps one of the downfalls of it, is that not the downfall, sorry, but the things that could effectively mean that it doesn't go so far is that it won't take much for say Steam. In fact, Ubisoft already have their own streaming service, so it won't take much for Steam, I'd imagine, to do their own streaming service. Epic, it probably won't take much for them to do their own streaming service. Um, Especially with things like the Steam Deck coming out, it'd be pretty convenient for them to just have that, and you can stream the games to that device. So though it's still an option, and it's not a bad option, I do kind of feel like it won't take much for it to become pretty obsolete, and that's kind of the shame of it, because what it does is that it kind of consolidates a lot of things,
mhm.
which is a cool idea, and I like the idea of it. I'm not suggesting it's a bad idea, but it also feels like eventually there's going to be better options, and it won't take much for other companies to give better options. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for now, at least, it's a good option if you bought a lot of games on Steam and you want to be able to stream them. Steam don't offer their own streaming service, cloud streaming service, so that is an option for that right now.
So
To go through GeForce Now.
what I'm confused about is like they're saying that you have to own the game to stream it, but why
Yeah.
would you stream it if you already own it?
Well, it's a game that, so you buy games on Steam, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you bought a game. Let's say you bought, I don't know, what's the game right now? Cyberpunk. You buy that game on Steam. Now, when you buy that game on Steam, you could play it on your computer as you download it, right? But Steam don't offer their own cloud gaming service. So what you can then do is connect your Steam accounts to GeForce Now, and GeForce Now will let you play the game on the cloud. that the Cyberpunk on cloud. So if you don't want to be in your house playing the game, you want to be outdoors, or maybe the computers that you use, or maybe your rig doesn't even run that game. Um, yeah, you can connect your Steam account to GeForce Now and play it through their cloud service. So you bought the game already, yeah, and then you go to GeForce Now, and then you can play it through the cloud. So literally, all it does is offer you cloud access to games that you already own. That's what GeForce Now
Hmm.
does.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know me personally, I wouldn't. I don't see myself getting that anytime soon.
Hmm. I mean, it's
But you
not
said
bad.
it's
Like
been
I say,
around for a while, right?
it's been around a while. Yeah, it's not a bad option. Like I say, like I joined up to the free service, and it works pretty well. Um, just going to look on the site right now to see what the paid options are again, because I completely forgot. Um, let's see here. Where are they? I was just heading somewhere. It's just I say these websites are just so complicated sometimes, though. Anyway, doesn't matter. But yeah, they have different options if you want to be prioritized on their service and things like that. Um, but yeah, I would say my experience with GeForce Now is pretty positive. But I just feel like it won't take much for it to become obsolete, and that's kind of a shame, really. But hey,
Hmm.
it's what it is. It's the way these things go. Another streaming service that we haven't mentioned, I think we might have mentioned a little bit actually, was Nintendo Switch. Actually, have a cloud gaming service as well.
Oh, I didn't
It's
know.
not very good. It's not very many games available on it, for one thing. Not all the games are available; just a few select games are available. Um, as far as I'm aware, as far as I can tell, it seems to be only available on Switch. So you can't play it on your PC, can't play it on any other devices, just for the Switch. And in all honesty, it doesn't run that well. Like when I played Hitman on it, or a little bit of Hitman on it, and
Hmm.
yeah, it just doesn't run that well. And again, it's the same connection that I use for other games that run smoothly through the cloud. It just doesn't run that well. So I'm kind of wondering, really, if there's just something about cloud games on consoles that it just doesn't really work too well, because the two consoles that I've tried for cloud gaming seem to have issues playing the games that's supposed to be there on their own service. So I'm kind of wondering if there's a thing about games consoles and cloud gaming, and they're just not going together too well. Um, but yeah, the Nintendo do have a cloud gaming service. It's just not very good, in my opinion.
Yeah, I didn't even hear about it, so
Yeah.
that speaks for it. Right there.
I don't think they've been promoted too much. I only found out about it because I searched to prepare for this podcast. I was searching things like opinions on cloud gaming, in particular negative opinions on cloud gaming, because I wanted to know why people might not like it, to kind of see what that's about. Because I know why I like it, right? So I want to see
Yeah.
why people don't like it. And yeah, one of the videos came up was a guy talking about why he doesn't like the Nintendo Switch cloud game, and I'm thinking I've never even heard of this. So I watched this video, and I went and checked it out for myself, and I'm like, yeah, you're right, you're right, you're right. Yeah, it's just not very good. It's not very good. So I like Nintendo. I think they do some cool things, but this is not one of them. This is not one of them. Perhaps if they made it available on PC, it might run better, because, like I said before, the other ones seem to run better on my laptop. So maybe, but I don't know. Nintendo make these odd business choices at times, so who knows what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
Hmm. But yeah, let's see. I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to say about cloud gaming. Was there anything else you wanted to say about cloud gaming?
Uh, I mean, I hope I'm not repeating myself, but I'm looking forward to seeing what they develop in the near future. I feel like it's headed in the right direction.
Hmm.
I just hope nobody tries to take advantage of it, but that's unavoidable. It's almost like a given that it's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I hope that whoever tries to take advantage of that, whether it be companies or people, that they suffer consequences of that, especially companies, because now is not the time to get greedy, because companies are, especially gaming companies, they're making more money since this pandemic started. A lot more people were in their homes, nothing to do, so they got into games. I've even seen uh, like an older couple getting into video games because they couldn't
Mm,
go anywhere. So they were in homes, I mean, in their houses and nothing to do. So I hope that they just relax, take a breath. The fact that they even released next gen consoles during the pandemic was already a shitty move, in my opinion, but whatever.
mm,
There's people with money out there apparently because they're scalping PS5s to the point where,
yeah.
it's still hard to get one. So yeah, uh, I'm looking forward to it, but I'm not looking forward to the bad parts.
Yeah, no, no, I feel that. In fact, yeah, it did kind of just run with something. Yeah, just some of the pricing that when it comes to buying games on the cloud are just absolutely ridiculous. I think I might mention this before actually that you know Stadia, for example, charging full price, for games that have been out for a year, 2 years or more, and it's like, come on, that's ridiculous. It's
Yeah,
absolutely ridiculous, and I get it. The novelty of playing on a cloud, maybe they're not going to be super cheap, fine. Maybe they're not going to be all the way discounted down, fine. But come on, there's no good reason to be charging full price for a game that's like a year or more old. Reduce it down a little bit, but it's kind of that where else you gonna go kind of mentality. I think that a lot of them are taking. And although yes, there are other places you can go, you can buy it as a physical download, a physical game, excuse me, or you can go to another service and buy it as a download. So you do have other options, but when it comes to cloud gaming, let's be honest. A lot of times the options are limited because games tend to be either exclusive to certain platforms or just not widely available everywhere. So if you wanted to play it on a cloud, you might just have very limited options. And then in that case, it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna charge you for the nose for it, and it's like, come on, that's you're taking a piss. You're taking a
yeah.
piss. Like the one game that I played on bought on Steam was Far Cry 6, and I only bought that because one, the game was on, I think it was on sale anyway, and plus I had an extra discount because Stadia give you a discount for your first game that you buy. So I managed to get that relatively reasonably priced, you know. And even then, I think I paid in the end. I think I paid about 30 quid for it. Is what I actually paid, which I guess it's not too bad considering, but still a bit much. Still a bit on the high side. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, there's no good reason for Far Cry 6 to be like 50 quid, 60 quid, or whatever, and it's just taking a piss. And also, another thing as well, I think it's taking a piss. If I buy Far Cry, for example, I bought the regular version of Far Cry 6, right? But if I
Mhm.
wanted to get the deluxe version of Far Cry 6 that has all the extra features on it, I can't just buy the extra features. I've got to buy the whole damn thing again, which is like
Wow.
70, 80 quid or whatever they're charging for that thing. And I thought that's another piss take. Like, if I've already got the game and it's already on their service, if I want the extra bits, surely I should just pay for those extra bits, right? I should pay an
Yeah,
extra
that's how
tenner
it
or
should
whatever
be.
it is, 10, 15 quid or whatever. But no, they're making you buy the whole damn thing again at, again, full retail price for the deluxe version or the extra special Diplodocus version, or whatever they call these stupid things now. You know what I mean? They make you pay full like 80 quid, 90 quid for them. It's like, nah, come on, man. Come on, man. That is not
Yeah,
that. There's no
that's
good
greedy.
reason for that.
That's greedy.
There is no good reason for that. There should be an option to just be like, because I know Steam do this already, where when they do these sell bundles, right, and they have a
Mhm.
price for the sell bundle, but if you've already got one of the games that's in the bundle, they'll reduce it down a little bit. Let's say we've already got this game, so rather than paying £10, you just pay us £8, and you get the rest of them. You know what I mean? So it can be done. The technology exists to know that you've already got something and have a reduced price. So there's no good reason for them to make you pay or try and make you pay full retail price to get the extra bits when you've already bought the game. That's a
Yeah,
piss take to me. That is an absolute piss take. So yeah, that's something that I think needs to change if certainly if they feel like they want to try and take on companies like Steam, because I do think Stadia does have the potential to become, say, the streaming version or the cloud gaming version of a Steam. I do think they have that kind of potential, but I don't think it's being realized, and partly because, yeah, their games are too expensive. They're way too expensive, and they have a subscription option where you pay, I think it's £10 a month, and you get a discount on some of the games, which is cool. I mean, you get access to some games for free with the within the subscription, but you also get a discount on some of the other games, which is cool. But then unless you're buying something like 3-4 games a month, it's probably not worth it. It's probably not worth it. And unless you're super hardcore, you're probably not buying that many games a month. And if you are super hardcore, you're probably just gonna stick to one game anyway. And
Hmm.
if you can afford to buy 3-4 games a month, chances are you're probably working full time and don't have time to play those games anyway. So it's like it's like there's so many reasons why you just wouldn't bother with it.
Yeah.
So I feel like the potential is there. The realization doesn't seem to be. So yeah.
Ah, you're right. You're right.
Um, but yeah, that's oof, boy. I guess that's pretty much it then. I think we've covered just about everything on most things anyway concerning cloud gaming. Um, maybe as things develop and things change, we might have to revisit this subject and talk about it some more. But yeah,
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
I think that's probably all for the moment. But any last words, Mr. Sweet Bundy, like to end on?
Man, I just appreciate you asking me to do this again. As always, it
Hey,
was a great time and I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to next time as well. So,
yeah.
anytime you just reach out, I'll be there.
Yes, and I appreciate you answering a call. Yeah, God willing, have you on a good few more times. I said before, I want to try and get you on regular. I do want to have guests and have a guest, and I've sent some invites out, so hopefully we be having some other guests as well. As they reply, that well, hopefully they reply and say yes. Really, is what it comes down to. If they say no, then oh well. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so we'll have some other guests. But yeah, I do want to try and get you back as a regular guest every now and then, and chop it up, talk about different things going on in the geek world, and yeah, man, I think I think
Oh, hell yeah.
we got stuff to say about a lot of different things. So yeah,
Definitely. And the crazy thing is that we had to cut out some stuff pretty much.
yeah, yeah, indeed. But for things for another podcast.
Exactly.
Things for another podcast. Um, but yeah, guys, I appreciate everybody who tuned in to watch and or listen. Look out for the next podcast. I don't really have a schedule right now, but I do try to do these as regular as possible. Weekly, sort of ish. We can't say how it goes. But it's still new, so it's all like TV and things are still a bit up and down, but yeah, I hope we kind of get to a point where it is kind of a bit more consistent and regular and that kind of thing. But in the meantime, it's just I'll try to do these as much as I can. And but life is always gets in the way, so there is that. But yeah, appreciate everybody who's subscribed, everybody who's been watching, listening, liking, all that sort of stuff. Stick around. God willing, we'll have a lot more to come. But for now, until whenever, if ever, let me get the right button. There we go. Peace.